Welcome everyone to Think Game Talk. My name is Andrew. You can call me Coloco. And today we're going to be playing some Super Nintendo games online. Online. Can you believe it? What a concept in 2019. It's amazing. It's something that I could never imagine this. I'm kidding, obviously. So, who is here with me? I got 3 people watching. Welcome everyone who's watching. I think earlier I had my friend Mark here. Is he on now?
Hello.
What's up, Mark? Digital.
Uh, uh,
Do you like to be referred as to your name, or would you rather be preferred as the digital age gaming?
uh, you can call me sir. Anything. No,
Sir, sir.
no, no. Mark is fine. Mark is
Mark is
fine.
fine. All right. I was trying to like maybe I could de-age gaming, but that sounds like I don't know. That doesn't sound right. De-age gaming. It sounds like you're de-aging the games.
I
I don't
know.
know.
Look, on Twitter, everything had already been taken. Okay, digital age gaming, digital underscore age underscore every combination. The only thing left was de-age gaming.
De-age gaming, and I lost my for some reason, I lost my signal here on my Switch, and I'm not quite sure why. Let's see if I can get it back. But yeah, man, I don't know if you caught the stream last night, but it was wild. It was a good time, man. These old games, it like I would have never imagined that I would put any time into Donald Trump soccer, or or super tennis. I'm sure it would make a lot more sense if you could see what I'm seeing right now when I call it Donald Trump soccer. But the fact that these games are online, and especially like playing with people like on the stream, it's so much fun. It's a lot of fun, man.
I caught the replay this morning, and I mean, I wasn't going to bring it up. I'm not petty, but there was one point in it where you were choosing to play soccer, or as I call it, football, and
Football.
the formation list came up, and there were some words said like, "What is this crap? I don't understand." Sweeper 4-4-2,
I
and I'm
have no
thinking,
idea. I don't
and
know,
I'm
man. I don't
and
know
I'm and
soccer.
I'm thinking, the game every other country in the world plays, apart well, no, actually America does play it and more, but
Yeah,
and
I'm
I'm
not the
thinking,
typical sports fan though. I don't really follow. I really don't follow football that much, and every American here follows football, like American football. Like I don't really
oh,
follow. I love baseball, and I do follow that, and I follow a little bit of basketball, but that's it.
oh, American football, that's the one where they actually run with it in their hands more than at their feet.
I
That's the
know
one, yeah.
it's
Yeah.
dumb, and yeah, and then the guy that actually does the only guy that actually plays the sport by name is the guy that nobody cares about, which is the actually guy that kicks the ball. The actual footballer is the punter, which nobody really everybody treats as a joke sometimes. Give me 1 second. Let me. I think I might. There might be something wrong with my equipment here. Give me 1 second. I'll be right back.
Okay, mate.
There we go. Think I got it now. Okay, should be coming up shortly now because I think the HDMI just wasn't plugged in all the way on my Elgato.
Oh, gutter.
Elgato. Yeah, sometimes I have to refresh it. We'll see if that's it. Um, but yeah, I had a blast, man. It was a lot of fun. Here we go. Activate. Activate. Should work now. There we go. Awesome.
There we go. The infinite display.
Yeah. Inception. The Inception display. Anybody that's watching, I don't know how many people we got watching now. 5 people. Wow, that's pretty good. If you want to join the Discord, I did put the link in the chat. Let me put it again just in case.
Don't forget to hit that like button.
Oh, thanks. So if you want to download Discord and chat for a little bit with us, you're more than welcome to. And also anybody that wants to join in, just let me know.
You have an absolutely awesome guy in chat right now, TG Lopez.
TG
Fantastic.
Lopez, what's going on, buddy?
Yeah.
I don't think we've met. I don't think I.
He is an awesome. Oh, he's from America. Absolutely awesome guy.
Oh,
Awesome
cool.
guy.
Let me see. Okay, I just want to make sure that I'm not missing anything, and I'm not. So this is a lot better. Finally, my setup is a lot better. I'm not having to do one of these to look at the computer screen and look at what you guys are saying. I can just quickly look over here, look over there, and it's not that awkward. All right. So what, Mark? Are you gonna play with me, or you want to play some? You want to play some Donald Trump soccer here, or Donald Trump football? And,
Hang on, your voice is stuttering a little. I think mine might be as well.
Oh no, you sound pretty clear. Sound pretty clear to me.
On the stream.
TG Lopez says your voice is stuttering. Okay, so is it still stuttering? Still coming in clear? Maybe not. Audio is a bit messy. Okay, it's kind of odd. My stream health is medium. Let me see. I was hearing myself earlier, Digital Age, on your end.
Let me.
Let's see. Pull myself up on my phone. Make sure that. So yeah. So what I was saying earlier, if you couldn't clearly, but not you. I can hear Digital Age Gaming clearly, but not you. Okay, weird. Is it my mic? Oh, wait a minute. It might be my keyboard that was plugged in. It's right here. Maybe getting some static feedback from it. What about now? Is that better?
Wait for it to come through. I think it's the same.
It's the same. Really? That's so odd. So it's just me.
I think it's the same. Yeah, for some reason. That's.
Give me 1 second. It might be my mic.
Yeah, for some reason.
Okay, is that better? Is that better? So wait,
I'll wait for it to come through.
You can hear me fine on when we're talking on.
Yep,
on Discord.
On Discord, you are crystal clear.
It's only when it's going out, so that means there's got to be something wrong with. That means I'm just having a bad time with the internet right now, which is no surprise. My internet stinks.
Yeah, that is weird because the stream itself is fine, crystal clear. Chat's working fine.
So am I still? How does this sound now?
Let's wait for it to come through. Yes, sadly it's still stuttering. Yeah, which is weird because on Discord I can hear you perfectly.
Yeah, it's very odd. I wonder what that is. Wait, did that just start happening, or was it fine in the beginning and then it just started happening?
I'm not sure because I had it muted because I didn't want any feedback or anything. I noticed when TG mentioned.
You said your audio was fine until a few minutes ago. I didn't change anything other than the only thing that changed was the video coming in from the Gato. That's the only thing that changed. Why does that make a difference?
I mean, there is one. You could stop the stream quickly and restart. I hope that cures it. Or see, plugging the Elgato in shouldn't mess up audio. Billy the Crit said it started after you fixed the Elgato. That music that's playing is there's music playing, and there's no hang on, there's music playing. Listen, hear that? That's playing perfectly.
Okay. All right. What a mess! So unorganized. What is this? It's not professional.
The joys of streaming.
What kind of streaming is this? All right. So what about now? Because I just unplugged the
Hang on.
Elgato.
You are perfect.
What?
Yes, you are perfect. Right. So you plug the Elgato in. Now the Elgato's got. Are you on PC or Mac? I'm
PC.
guessing. Yeah, same as me. So the Elgato does come with the Elgato sound, where you can hook it up for Discord or whatever. I never had that running. Let me turn that volume down. People hear my voice.
Sounds perfect now. Okay. But can you hear after I unplug? Is this? It's kind of hard to determine when people are messaging because I don't know how. It's always a delay. So what about now that I plugged everything back in? Everything is working. You still hear me fine or not really?
Right at the moment, it's still saying 1 moment, please, on your Elgato.
Oh, that's so weird.
Your voice is fine at the moment.
Okay. Let me restart this whole thing. And I'll be right back, man. Let me just restart because it was working fine last night. There was no issues. So let me just do a quick
just a
restart.
hiccup somewhere.
All right, Universal 64. I'll be right back, man. I just got to restart the stream. There's some technical difficulty here for a second, and I'll be right back.
One.
Hello. Okay. I think we're back. I think.
My mic's not working.
Your mic's not working. I can hear you.
How come I'm not lighting up on Discord? Because for some reason, there was 2 of me in here. So I said, if you can hear me, Cloak, I'm going to disconnect. It disconnected, but it left 1 in here. My thing's not lighting up.
I can hear you.
So I didn't. Oh, right. That's cool. Oh, that's cool.
Okay. Are we good now?
Right.
How's the sound?
Let me test the sound. The sound is fine.
Oh, awesome. Okay. Good.
Yes, we are good now.
We're good, finally. Okay. A little bit of technical difficulty, but we're back. All right, so let's play. What, Mark? Do you want to play some SNES games right now, or does someone else want to jump in?
I'll play in a little while.
Okay.
I've just got Torchlight 2 on at the moment.
How's that? How is that so far?
Look, I've only been playing for a short time.
Okay.
Early impression, good game, but at the moment it could change. But at the moment, out of all of Panic Button's ports, I would say it's at the moment the least polished. But
Really? Oh
obviously,
wow.
I've only been playing for a couple of hours.
Is it one of these games? Because from what I see, it's like a isometric view. Is there a lot of
Yeah.
enemies on? Is there a lot of effects? Does that maybe that the reason why?
Um, yeah, you can get a lot of enemies on and effects and stuff like that. It's a lot like Diablo, kind of, but it's not like it's slowing down. I can't put my finger on it. It's just if I look at their other ports, there's just like a sheen to them that at the moment I'm not seeing on this one. But that could
Okay.
be I've never played the game before until now. That could be just what Torchlight 2 is like
It
anyway.
is it kind of like a Diablo like where there's a lot of items that drop, a lot of stuff on the
Yep,
floor. Is that yeah?
yep.
Games like that, man. It's hard. It's taxing on a system. You know.
Oh yeah, crikey! Rendering all that stuff, remembering where all that stuff is at
Mm-hmm.
every, all the time and that. Oh, absolutely.
I don't even know how like games like Fallout 4 or the Fallout series, how they do it because it's like for them, you can drop something and you can go like across the world and come back and that thing is still on the floor. You know,
Yep,
I say how? How does it remember everything?
yep.
Hey, you fell
Crazy.
asleep last night, Zilla. All right, so who wants to jump on this, man? Who wants to play some? You want to play some Donald Trump soccer? You want to play some super tennis? Some, some
Donald Trump soccer because
it's
the referee looks like. No, who is it? You said the referee looks like.
the referee
Oh,
looks like Ben
Ben
Kingsley.
Kingsley.
He does, dude. I had a good time with that game last night, man. We could play some stunt race effects. That's two player. Let me get into that. Let me get into some of that. And if you guys want to jump in, let me know, and I'll give you the friend code. Have you tried this SNES online out at all, Mark?
Uh, what did I try? The one of the Mario games. Man, that was just like being back in 1990 something.
Oh yeah.
Um, but no, I've only tried a couple of the games out. I really fell off really quickly from the NES online because it's like, man, I've played these games so many times. Um, but maybe I will get more into the SNES at some point. Um, 20 games in one go. That's, you can't complain at that. There's
Are
some
you?
cracking
I'm gonna
games.
ask you what I asked some on the stream last night. How did you take the news that it wasn't going to be an extra charge for it? Because it surprised me. I really thought that there was going to be an extra charge for it.
Um, I didn't. How can I say it? I wasn't expecting an extra charge, and I would have been probably one of the first on Twitter if Nintendo had said, and tomorrow SNES games for an extra £5 a month or something, or £10 a year. I would have been one of the first on Twitter saying, no, 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 no. These like 15, 20-year-old games, and you want us to pay an extra £10 a year or $10 a year. No, 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 no.
Yeah,
So
I mean, I would have been happy with it for sure, and I would have been right there with you. But I just think knowing Nintendo, Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze on the Switch, $60 when that game was literally $20.
yeah,
Just a couple years ago, I was surprised to be honest that they just said, okay, we're just gonna do it for free. Um,
yeah. You can't odds Nintendo because one week they'll do some, or one day they'll do something, and it's like that's fantastic, good on you, Nintendo, pro consumer. A day or 2 days later, they'll do something. It's like, what are you doing, Nintendo? How can you even think this is the right thing to do? So yeah, you can't predict what Nintendo's going to do. It's
yeah, it's weird, man. They make the oddest decisions sometimes.
it's what I love about them, but it's also what, oh man, infuriates me sometimes. And a lot of it, I think, is we have Nintendo of America, we have Nintendo UK, we have Nintendo of Europe. But really, in terms of power, none of those have power. It's all back in Kyoto, in Japan, where their head office is. So they are in a completely different society. Japan behaves totally different to the West. So I mean, what was it? About 2 years ago, someone was interviewing some people at Nintendo's head office, and they were like talking about online infrastructures and things like that, and said to one of them, "Have you never seen the PS4?" And whether they were joking or not, they were like, "No, no, never played PS4. Don't even know really what it is." And it's
I
like,
don't
are
know
you,
what's a PlayStation?
are you just saying this so you can get out of talking about
Of
online
course,
and
of
stuff?
course.
You know,
They're trained to not talk about
yeah, yeah, it had to be. It's I look, I can't complain at the price that they put the online at. For me, it's just under £20 a year. But a small messaging app just so I can message my friends
yes.
would be helpful. I'm not even asking for like cross game lobbies.
You know what though? Even I would even go as far as to say that even something like a agreement with Discord to say like, hey, if you join Discord, you're gonna get something like custom icons, custom themes. Kind of at least giving the idea, hey, I know we're not supplying you with a messaging program, but at least you guys, there's a way where you guys can do, because that's what everybody's doing anyway. Everybody's just using Discord. You know what I mean?
Yes. And I remember, I think I've seen it twice. Discord has put up a petition saying they would love to do the messaging and the voice, chat for Nintendo Switch. And people have been going online, signing this online petition. There's a guy I know, you might actually know him actually, Shadow Fox. He's very knowledgeable when it comes to tech. He works for one of
Yeah.
the three-letter
He's just a smart
big
dude in
companies
general.
in America.
Wh-
And like he said, there is absolutely no way Nintendo is ever going to let Discord release an app on the Switch because it would have to be a low-level API.
Yep.
And because of that, hackers would be able to get in through back doors in Discord and boom, the latest Switch is hacked straight away.
1 second, Mark. TG Lopez says the SNES games are great. I'd prefer N64 games. Yeah. Me. Well, I wouldn't say prefer. I want them both. But he says, but oh well. LOL. If they charge more, I wouldn't pay for it. And
TG, you're never happy. You're never happy.
Cloudy Mind, what's up? What's up, man? Thanks for stopping by. And TG Lopez says their online service is garbage. It is. I mean, it is, but also the price is not that bad. When so you gotta get what you pay for. Zilla times two says
Yeah.
I was expecting it because of the rumors, but relieved that it didn't happen. Yeah, and it was heavily rumored because most people know how Nintendo does their business. They're premium priced products. A lot of their products are premium priced. Some of them are not. Some of them are priced for like the 2DS line and stuff. Some of them are priced for little kids. But as far as like their mainline games go, they hold on to their value and they're premium priced.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't know how many Switch owners are actually paying for the online now, but this is money that Nintendo never ever had coming in before. So this is brand new revenue coming in. Obviously, they are paying Amazon because they use Amazon servers for the cloud storage and stuff like that. And right now, data storage is the most expensive it's ever been. But they got to be making a profit, obviously. Are they pouring some of that profit back into the online? That's what I want to know. I'd be happy if I knew they were pouring some of that profit back into the online to make it better.
Yeah, I think right now it's 100% worth $20 a year. 100%. Without the SNES games, it's debatable, man. It's debatable that it's worth that. But with the SNES games, 100%. SNES is
Yeah.
still, it still looks good. Even not this. I'm not I'm not talking about this. But for the most part, pixel graphics, they still hold up nowadays. There's still games that just got Game of the Year nominations or even wins. Last year, an action game won for Game of the Year, and it was a pixel art game. You know,
Yep.
so they still look good. They still hold up.
Yeah. At the end of the day, I can't disagree for the price. Now that they added the SNES games, and they will add more at some point. They just said it's not going to be the traditional every month. Yeah, it is worth the entry point, £20 or $20. TG says they will probably charge more for their service once N64 comes out, most likely in another year from now. You would think Microsoft would say, "Hey, come here. This is how you fix your online problems." LOL. That's Cloudy Mind, by the way.
Oh, you would
Um,
think that Microsoft, yeah. I mean, I'm pretty sure they have had conversations like that. I mean, they've been pretty good partners. You know, you would think that they would have some sort of a conversation with that.
I mean, we heard about Sony, this handshake between Sony and Microsoft. Sony apparently going to be using Microsoft's what do they call it? Oh, their new AI servers. I
Oh,
forget what
they
they're called
are
now.
really,
Yeah,
dude. This
it's
is
not an actual
terrible.
contract. It was like a gentleman's agreement. There was a handshake done. Yeah, I forget what they call it now. But I'm sure Nintendo must have spoken to them about it. Must have done.
Look, I'm sure that I'm sure they intended well with this game, and I'm glad that it exists, but it shouldn't have existed. What am I looking at right now? It's just a blurry mess.
Look, this was back in its day. This was not good back in its day.
Oh my god. Well, even I mean, yeah. As a kid, initially when I played this, I was like, oh my god, blown away by the graphics, and then like a year later, when the PlayStation came out, I was like, oh, okay, never mind.
Oh dear, nostalgia. It's weird,
Oh,
man. My memory of like nostalgia of games from years ago sometimes is pretty misleading. I'll have a vision of a game that I used to play years ago in my head, and then I'll look at videos of it and think, "Wow, that is not how I remember it."
yeah.
In my head, it looks so much better.
TJ Lopez says can't play Smash Online without lag and input delay. Yeah, man, that's the thing. If they had dedicated servers, man, it would be so worth. It would be worth more money. Like I said last night, I would pay $60 for just for dedicated servers and the current everything they offer currently. $60 dedicated servers. Bam, I'm paying it. They will probably
Now,
charge more for their service once N64 comes. Oh, you already said that. Yeah.
now, dedicated servers. I'm all for dedicated servers. However, in a fighting game, uh, I mean, and this is some of the top gaming fighters in the world, have also said this. If you put a dedicated server in the middle of, you've got one guy, say in America, one guy in the UK playing peer to peer, right? You put a dedicated server, that is another piece of equipment that is trying to make the connection better, but it's also going to be another piece of equipment that the signal's got to go through, and it's for fighting games. Dedicated servers are really, in most cases, not the answer, because it's
Really?
something. Yeah, seriously, yeah, check it out. Honestly, um, dedicated servers wouldn't fix the problem, though, says TG. I don't think just because they add games to their service makes their price point valid. I say that just due to the fact that their online is terrible, they need to fix their infrastructure. It would help the situation, but not fix it entirely. Mm,
I don't know how to see that. I don't know. I'm just echoing what I've heard. You know, I don't. Obviously,
yeah,
I'm not
yeah.
IT or anything. I've never, you know. So when people talk about working on infrastructure and stuff like that, that's one thing that they throw out a lot there. By the way, that whole thing with the semi you just saw, that was horrible. That was so bad. That was so terrible. I can't explain to you like I was so mad inside just feeling that. Well, anyways, so like the whole online thing, that's all they ever talk about is dedicated servers. So what else could you do to
Yeah,
make it better? What besides the dedicated servers? I don't know. I don't understand what else is out there.
and what a lot of people forget is, what is it? I can only well, I know it's the same on PS4, but I have an Xbox One and Xbox One X, and on there, very few games use dedicated servers. Most games are peer to peer, just like on Switch,
Hmm.
just like on PlayStation 4. Some games, yes, they use dedicated servers like Microsoft's first-party games like Forza, Gears of War, and things like that. Most third-party games are peer-to-peer.
I wonder if things are going to change now with 5G. I wonder if all that's going to just change and dedicated service won't even matter anymore because you know the whole infrastructure of the whole internet of the whole world. Someone I work for apartment complex, and one of the guys that comes in and works on our internet service, he's very tech savvy, and he was explaining to me something, and maybe you know something about this, Mark. He says that right now there are three satellites orbiting the Earth that bring all data, everything, cellular data, every any kind of data. They all, I guess, like are part of a network. Those three satellites, and someone, I don't know if it's the U.S. or whoever, is going to basically shoot up another satellite. So there's going to be now four satellites, which there's never been. And he says because of that, now it's going to be nearly impossible for you to never have a cellular signal, no matter where you are in the world. No matter if you're on top of Mount Kilimanjaro, it doesn't matter. You're going to get cell service, and on top of that, internet is just going to be the fastest ever, and that's apart from the 5G service that they're, and that's what I don't know if you've heard of anything like that, but
Yeah,
it sounds weird,
like
but
if if I'm say in where I am now in England, you're in America. Say I called you on we call them mobile phones, you call them cell phones. My mobile phone, I called you. It would go to various towers in my country, then be beamed to one of those satellites, which would then beam it to cell towers as close to you as possible, and your phone picks it up. Now, 5G sounds awesome, really awesome. And there's a YouTuber, I forget his name now. He's a black guy, really, really knows his stuff. And he tested 5G. He drove, I think it was 100, because there's 5 cities or something in America that are testing 5G at the moment. And he went to his nearest one and he bought the latest Samsung 5G enabled phone. And he stood right next to the tower and he got over 1 gigabyte down and over a gigabyte up. He
whoa,
walked,
oh
he
my
walked, he walked 50
gosh,
feet away and it dropped to less than 100 megabytes down. That's the problem. The 5 gigahertz, right, at the moment it's 2.4 gigahertz, right? Which is a fairly straight waveline. 5 gigahertz is goes up, up and down, up and down, up and down. And because of that, the distance it covers, like in your home, your Wi-Fi, you must, most people have got 2.4 and 5 gigahertz.
yeah,
You'll notice your 2.4 goes all around the house. Your 5 gigahertz, if there's any walls in the way, it will drop off very quickly because 5 gigahertz is very short range. And it started raining, right, when he was doing this test, and the 5 gigahertz just cut right out. That's the problem at the moment. To get 5 gigahertz proper coverage, there would have to be a tower like every 20 to 30 feet everywhere for full coverage.
whoa.
Yep.
So
Because
that's the
of the,
problem.
yeah, yeah.
But I guess in China it's a little different because there's so much, the population is so condensed over there that
Yeah,
it wouldn't be an issue.
yep, and Japan's been using 5G for
Oh,
at
really?
least a couple of years now.
Well, it
Yeah,
doesn't
yeah,
surprise. Actually, I
geez,
shouldn't be surprised. They're always on top of everything over there, technology wise.
yeah, they've been enjoying really fast download speed. And do you know what? That's why I think Nintendo went with like the phone app for voice chat and that, because you go on the subway in Japan and you can stay connected all the time. Wherever you go, you can be connected. Um, in my country, slightly different.
So, so you live near the city, like near a city, or not?
The nearest city to me would be Canterbury, which is about 35 miles away.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I live in a fairly small village. Yeah.
Give me 1 second. Let me I know some have let me go back on these messages because I know I missed some stuff. TJ Lopez says apparently now that the SNES games are out now, they are not releasing games as often as they were with NES games. Um, I don't know if it's not going to be as often, or because what they said is they're not going to be doing it on a monthly basis. I don't know if that means as often. I just don't know if they, from well, we were talking about this last time too. I don't know if it means that they just don't want to basically have a date, a certain date to release games, because now that games are getting more, now that people care about more of the games on Nintendo Online, where NES games, it's just a niche, kind of a niche audience for NES games, except like Super Mario 3, like the big ones. But as far as like
Yeah.
Super NES games go, I think more people pay attention to those. So I think what they want to do is being able to kind of play around with that and release them strategically to other titles that are going to be released. For example, if there's a new Fire Emblem game coming out, maybe they'll release like one of the Japanese Fire Emblem games, onto the Nintendo Online or something like that. But I don't know if it's going to be less. I don't know if we're going to get less. No, we don't know that. It might be the case, and that if it's so, I mean that kind of stinks. But TJ Lippis said, I don't think just because they add games to the service makes the price point valid. I say that just due to the fact that their online is terrible. They need to fix their infrastructure. Yes, and if they get help from Microsoft, then they can fix the problem. But that won't happen. I feel they're not going to bother fixing their issues. Rather, they will just keep adding those games and make it look like their service is worth it just for that. I mean, personally speaking, personally speaking, I think it's worth it just for that. I mean, just to play like Super Nintendo games online specifically, like like I said earlier, I would have never even thought of touching, Donald Trump soccer before last night. But I had a lot of fun, and I'm willing to go back and play it because it was a blast playing online. So I don't know, man. I don't know. I think the
I
online
can't.
is. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I can't say it's not worth it because the renewal is coming up, I think, on the 19th, and I'm going to renew. Um, I may not play the NES or the SNES games that much, but I will get the online for a year again because anytime I do want to play, say, those older games or go online and play modern games with my friends, I can do it. Um, I thank Nintendo for all those years they didn't charge us for online when the other two were. I'm surprised it took them this long to actually think to themselves, we could charge for basically playing, people to play online. And I'm surprised it took them this long. And thank you. We had the Wii U, all those years of not paying for online. And
Yeah.
now we have to pay. And what we've got so far, like I say, I'm going to buy it again. So it has to be worthwhile for me.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I think that's always a problem though when you get a certain consumer base used to certain way certain business practices, and then all of a sudden they change. It's never a good transition, you know.
Yeah,
Um, but that's expected, and it's inevitable. It's inevitable. They can't keep it up. They can't keep server maintenance and all this stuff and online features. They can't keep it up unless they start charging for it.
true. The one thing I wish they're not going to answer, not until they have to, actually have to, is um, I don't think they're ever going to go back to a dedicated home console. I think they found the perfect medium now, this hybrid. So the next generation are our purchases, like on the Switch, going to carry over? Or are we going to have to buy all these games again? That's what I want to know.
I really hope
Um,
not, man.
I hope not. I hope the fact that what
But this, I think that they are ahead of the curve in that sense, because if you think about what they're doing with the online stuff, um, that's kind of what they're doing to protect against that in their like to protect their money. And what I mean by that is there's basically if they had virtual console on the Switch, right?
yeah,
And there was a Switch 2 and a Switch 3 and a Switch 4, and you had all those games and you just brought it over, they would initially see maybe all the bulk of the the income, or the sales in the beginning, and then everybody would just carry their games over, right? Where this way, you could still enjoy all your favorite games, or at least some of them. Hopefully they'll bring a lot more, and you continually still pay them. But you would also, it's kind of like a win-win to a certain extent, because you don't have to pay for all these games. Because imagine paying for these 20 games, title by title, even at $5, it would be a lot of money. You know what I mean? So it's kind of a win-win in that sense. Um, but also, I think they're looking out for themselves. You know?
Yeah. And the other thing that gives me hope is just before the online service launched, it was middays, or it might have been about a week before, everyone who had a Switch or an account with Nintendo got an email saying, once the online service launches, the email you have attached to your Switch account or to your Nintendo account is going to be locked. Only under certain circumstances will you be able to change it in going forward. So make sure you've got the right email linked to your account. That gives me hope that going forward they are going to have like what do you call it? Like accounts that keep carrying forward. Um
Yeah,
like
I
so
think
the
so too.
the next gen console. Otherwise, there's really no, well, I guess they could have internal reasons for wanting you to do that, but it just gives me a slight little hope. They've never done that before, but yeah, fingers crossed.
But also,
Fingers,
I, I see the good thing with being able to transfer your games over to new systems. But I also see, there's something to an experience unlike anything else, like a Wii or Wii U. They have specific, I don't know, they have unique experiences attached to those systems that you just can't replicate, unless you're playing it on that specific system. So there's something to that, where if you want to play that game, like Xenoblade, for example, and that doesn't mean that we're not going to get a Xenoblade Chronicles X, um, you know, uh, uh, remake or something later on, or a port. But to play that game on the Wii U is still a unique experience that's attached to the Wii U. And
yep,
to just
definitely.
being able to just, well, you just play it on the next system, but it makes the Wii U less unique and less, um, you know what I'm saying? Like it makes it kind of forgettable in a certain sense.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I still have my Wii U hooked up and I still play it quite regularly. And one game that actually ended up getting released on PS4, Xbox One, and PC and could never replicate the Wii U version, Zombie U. Absolutely used that gamepad and the TV screen, because the gamepad, you would go to your inventory, but the action would still be carrying on the TV. Zombies were still coming towards you, and that, so it really heightened the tension. You can't replicate that on a
No,
single screen device.
no.
So absolutely, the Wii U is the best place to play that game.
Yeah, and also, and then when you talk about the Wii, and its motion controls and the way the nunchuck was and stuff, and you can't replicate certain. You could play those games on other systems possibly, but you cannot replicate the experience that a Wii gave you. There's something to that, of keeping that experience sacred, to that game, and to that, where it's like, if you really wanted to play that, go back and buy yourself another one of those consoles and experience it that way. You know,
Yeah,
um,
just quickly, clocked it is in chat.
Clocked
A
it.
clocked
What's
it.
up, my man?
And he says, if you want to take those corners better, tap the B button as you go around them.
Oh,
Classic F-Zero technique.
okay, yeah, because I suck, man. I suck at F-Zero. I was number one for a while.
Universal 64 says, like you could never replicate playing Galaxy on another console. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
yeah, I'd have to agree with that as well. Yeah, it's
It's an it's
yeah.
it's a arcade. You're talking about arcade experience of Galaxy, or was that on Atari? I think it was on Atari.
Is it? Oh, I thought I might be confused. I thought he was talking about
Oh, Super Mario Galaxy.
Yeah, he
Oh
might be
yeah, yeah,
talking
yeah.
about the other galaxy, like the Space Invaders kind of.
Oh, is there a galaxy? I don't even know. But yeah, you're right. In both instances, you'd be right. So yeah, because there's
uh,
something like, also going back to the arcades. Like there's just something about standing in front of a cabinet in a room full of people who are enjoying the same thing, and who are trying to press their luck, the same way you are, putting quarters in these machines, and with the joysticks and with the buttons. There's something to that, man, that you just can't replicate. Yes, you can get a system and you can play King of Fighters on that system, but there's nothing like, and Street Fighter 2, but there's nothing like the arcade experience. There's something sacred about that, and that's almost completely lost. But
Clock Tits just made me look a right idiot because yes, he correctly corrected me. That game I was talking about is Galaga and not Galaxy.
oh yeah, yeah. But I'm sure,
And
dude, with all the Atari games
yeah,
that there were, I'm sure there's a game called Galaxy for the Atari. I'm positive
and,
there has to be a game called Galaxy. It just
I want to ask Clock Tit something because I like Clock Tit. He's very funny. He's very knowledgeable. I don't know how long he's been here, but just now, Clock Tit, we were talking about whether going forward, Nintendo will, like the games we buy now, we won't have to keep repurchasing and things like that. Do you think Nintendo will have or have created now a universal account that going forward, we will get to keep some of these and carry them over to future systems, or is that just, pie in the sky? It's just, wishful thinking.
clocked it. If you want to get on the Discord, man, I'd love to have you. If you're not busy.
You would love to have clocked it, but that's a different. Um, Clocked it says no. Next question. So you don't think we're going to have a universal account? And okay, straight to the point and good answer.
But I mean,
Yeah,
but like there's nuances to
yeah.
that answer though. Like, what does he mean? No to some games, no to all of it. Like we're not. I mean, at least the online stuff. I don't think it's going to be dedicated to just Switch, to just the original Switch. The online stuff has to cross over. The online apps, like the NES online and the Super Nintendo online, because all they're gonna do is just charge us for that anyway, on the new system. So there's no really loss there for Nintendo at all. It's all winning.
TG also says I don't think they would do that. Now, the other thing, personally, I don't care because I have in my gaming room alone probably 9 devices that I would rather use. But I get why they didn't do it for the first year or year and a half, because they wanted Nintendo wanted people to think of the Switch as just this is a gaming device. But we heard from the head of Netflix long time ago. The app's ready. It has been ready. Talk to Nintendo. What we've got YouTube, and in America, I believe you have Hulu, which we don't get over here. So
That's weird.
Um, well, I'm very sorry. I live in the UK. All right.
No, I'm
Do you
just
know what I mean?
that's weird that you guys get it and we get it and you guys don't. Is it because Hulu is it popular over there at all? Is Hulu popular?
I have no idea.
Oh.
But what I was going to say is, are we going to get Netflix? Are we going to get Amazon Prime Video?
Or Disney Plus?
I like I say, I don't care because I have other devices that I can and would rather watch them on. But there are a lot of people that I don't really take my Switch out that much. But there's lots of people that do, and I guess would love to have Netflix, especially with the new version 2 Switch that has a longer battery life. Do you think we're going to get them?
Man, I think we need it. I think YouTube is one thing. YouTube is something that's an app that's people use it mostly on their phones. I think anyway. I don't.
Oh,
think
hang
YouTube,
on. Clocked it said, "Hey, I'm joking. I can jump on Discord if you like. Give me a moment." So he's going to jump on,
Yep.
and then we're going to pound on him like like there's no tomorrow. No, I'm joking.
So like,
He's a big old guy, so I ain't gonna mess with him.
Oh, TG Lopez says in a parallel universe, Nintendo has a Switch that actually plays most games at 60, 30 frames at 1080 and 720, 920, portable with no trash, unstable frame rates. Um,
Oh God.
I
Look, I refer back to a video that Doc Trade did the other day about these people that are now said that Overwatch could never come to the Switch, and if it did, it'd run at 540p at 15 frames per second.
yeah.
Well, now we know it runs at 900p at 30.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, in 29, no, you can't play at 30 frames per second. And he then went to show about 6 games, current gen, that run at 30 frames per second, and millions of people are playing.
There's a lot of games that run at 30 frames per second. A lot of big games. Destiny 2 is one of them. One of my favorite games, actually. And that runs at 30 frames per second on consoles, and it runs on 60 on PC, or it can run at 60 depending on the setting. But
Mighty Lag said, "How do you enter the Astral Chain giveaway?"
All you have to do is just subscribe, and then be here next Sunday. Not tomorrow, but next Sunday on a stream. I will post when exactly. It's probably gonna be around this time, and just be in the chat, and I'll pick someone at random, and that's it. And all you have to do is you have to either go on my Twitter or Instagram. Both are at Think Game Talk, and like that comment, that post, that Astral Chain giveaway, which is should be tagged on my or I should have it pinned to my timeline, and that's it. And just be here next week. So those two things. So you either get on Instagram or Twitter and like that post and retweet it, and just be here next Sunday. So that's it. And it's all
pretty simple.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Anyway, what was I going to say? TG says Overwatch is 30 frames per second on Switch. Laugh my A off. Right, I think Activision missed a beat here. Quite a lot, actually. Mm-hmm. One, I think they could have put in a performance stroke graphics mode.
But we don't know if that's still it's going to be there, because I would say,
or more importantly, they have said they have no plans whatsoever to incorporate cross-platform play. The Switch is going to be on its own.
That's weird.
Yep.
But then again, they had no plans. They said that they weren't even going to bring it to Switch. So who knows, man? That's it depends on how much it sells. I would imagine so.
Yeah, if I take the comment literally, that's how I read it. But like you said, go back a year or whatever, and it's like, well, we're concentrating on the 3 platforms we've got at the moment. We'll assess it going forward, and all the time they were developing it anyway. But you're right. We don't know that there isn't a graphic stroke performance.
But if that's the case, though, then they did miss their mark, like you said. If they didn't add it, but I would say it wouldn't be good marketing to say it's 60 FPS, and then people automatically start playing it in that mode and say, "Whoa, this looks really bad." I would think that they would first say it's 30 FPS just to get the, and it looks really decent. And then there's a performance mode where maybe it kind of looks a little choppy, but you get that 60 FPS. That would be the best move, I think. But if there's no,
and if it's a locked 30, I would take that over a up and down 60 kind of thing.
Yeah.
How's it going? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah. What's up?
Hey.
What's up, Clocked It?
Thanks for inviting me, man.
My first time actually talking to you in person.
Me too, man. This is great.
And this is going to sound weird. It is a privilege to actually talk to you because I've listened to you so many times on the Juices Loose podcast.
Yeah.
Strangely enough, it took me about 6 podcasts to actually, how can I say it? Pinpoint your accent, and I'm from the United Kingdom, so I apologise about that.
The funny thing is that my accent is actually I find it quite broad. A lot of people can work out where I was from.
Thank you.
Until I went traveling around the world, I met someone while I was in New Zealand. Yes, I was on the other side of the world. I met someone who was in New Zealand, and he went, you're from Cardiff, aren't you? Which is Cardiff is the capital of Wales. So I went, yeah. So it took someone else from Cardiff to actually recognise my accent. Yeah, I've around the world. But no, I mean, when me and Koloko, we spoke before. We wanted to. I think we wanted to do a debate about something. Just go back and forth.
Did
I was so yeah. I can't remember what it was about, but I was so young on YouTube. I was like, when you first go on YouTube and you start, talking to all these people, you're kind of like, celebrity struck, So I'm like, I was like celebrity struck with all these people. And when he asked me, I was so nervous and so young. I was like, I'm not ready, man. I'm not ready to talk to people online yet. Just let me do it by myself. But now I'm just like, yeah, whatever, let's go. It's cool. But no, I think we're all in the same communities. I'm trying to do my best just to get involved with everyone. So, like I said, I'm happy to be here. So, let's get talking, man. What are we talking about? Classic games. What are we talking about? What's going on?
Yeah, we're talking about right now we're talking about what was that? We're talking about Nintendo's future plans for their content.
Oh yeah. Sorry, I was joking, wasn't I? I was just saying, yep,
No.
nope. Next answer.
There's me asking a 5-minute long question and no, next question. Fair enough. Straight to the point.
No, I was joking about it because obviously we've all been we've been asking Nintendo for years to carry over our accounts and stuff, and it pretty much hasn't happened. The closest we had was the Wii U, wasn't it? Where it's just like, hey, you own Super Metroid on the Wii, you can have it again on the Wii U for just £1 now if you want on your Wii U home menu. Yeah, and it's just like, okay, cool, man. Okay, I'll do it because I'm a sucker. I'll do it. I'll give you an extra £1. Thank you, Nintendo. But yeah, I think I heard you earlier talking about the email addresses and stuff. I think the only I'm always gonna have doubts, until you see it happen. And I think like what they were trying to merge before was after they closed down. Do you remember Club Nintendo? I don't know.
Yes,
We had that in the UK. I don't know what the US version was. But that all switched over to My Nintendo, right? And we would all get in. They said sign up with your email address here. This is your live Nintendo account. We'll get all this really cool stuff. And we started to get discounts on 3DS stuff and Wii U stuff and wallpapers. I remember when I first got the 3DS, I got the Twilight Princess version of what's the puzzle game? Where you got the numbers. Oh God, what's the name? I can't remember the name, but you got like a free version of that. So they were doing stuff like, this is great. And then we had to then get another essential user ID for when we signed up for the Switch. So we still got like 2 IDs running essentially, but they're kind of linked together.
That's
so
true,
like we got my Nintendo now, and still the Wii U's been dead for years now. The 3DS, it's been is slowly disappearing now, and we still don't have any real Switch incentives on my Nintendo. The only thing we do have is the points. That's all we got is the points to get discounts. So I mean that's cool. You can't complain. At the end of the day, you're getting essentially free.
Well, it's okay though. Yeah, I would agree. It's not all bad. I actually enjoy it.
Yeah.
Enjoy sometimes getting a game for half off. A little indie game for half off or getting a free indie game. Like, it's kind of cool. But I agree that there should be more on there. There should be more to it.
Yeah, I think it just goes back to just what we had and what we have now type of thing, where just kind of like with the Wii U, what the Wii U system had compared to what the Switch has, it's you had this stuff with Nintendo and then it disappears where they're trying to reboot and change things up again. So I'm not in a place where I believe that whatever we've bought digitally on the Switch will carry over, because at the end of the day, when you get a new system, developers still have to get their games onto that new system, and I'm sure those developers would like some money, and I can't see Nintendo working something out just to transfer it over and say, oh, they had it on the Switch, just give it for free on here. So I think what we will see first, what I hopefully will see, is that what we're getting now with the NES app and the SNES app, you kind of hope now that this is it, this service which you're paying £12 a month for or whatever, this carries over with your NES to SNES games, and any other little extra things that you got. Maybe your Tetris Online carries over, Tetris Online 2 or something like that. Just all these things that they're building up now. That's what I'm kind of hoping will carry over. I don't expect much else to carry over because it's Nintendo, and
See,
to be honest, yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
sorry. No, go on.
No, go ahead. You finish.
No,
What
what I was going to say is, this is one of the many things that I like about you, and also Mr. T does this. A lot of the time when you're talking about Nintendo, you don't necessarily hold them to a higher standard. You hold them to their own standards. Like we had Miiverse on Wii U. We had things on the 3DS and that. We haven't got them on Switch. It's like we've reverted back. Now, I can understand it in a way. This is a brand new era for Nintendo. This hybrid system, new architecture. It's not using PowerPC anymore, so they're starting afresh. But yeah, that's what I like. One of the things I like about you, and like I say, Mr. T holds Nintendo to their own standard. It's not like holding them to this ridiculously sky high standard. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but also what you remember with Miiverse as well is that even though it was built into the Wii U, to cross over with games, and all that stuff that we had, which was great. Miiverse itself, they also turned into an online web app. It was online on the internet.
Yeah.
And you could do that. You can jump on your PC, check your posts on there and stuff like that. So it was there online, beyond the Wii U. So if you're sorry, I'm watching Andrew's Super Mario as well, seeing punching his fist in the air. I think the feed's a bit delayed as well, but it was funny seeing it in delayed and stuff. Me first was online in multiple places. They chucked on a 3DS. We got on there, so it was across multiple systems. So they had this online infrastructure beyond consoles as well as on consoles. But the fact that they just completely took it away is what irritates me the most, because it was already beyond the consoles. So even if you just have to work out where you'd have to with your new Nintendo Online user ID, which is what you need in order to sign up to Nintendo Online, even if you needed to pay for Nintendo Online just to get access to Miiverse Online, yeah, and with your screenshot button, you can post directly to Miiverse Online on the website, yeah, to get you this extra benefits. Then that's something. It's there. It's something that you would do. But Nintendo, they seem. I was going to talk about this in a video, but I'll talk about it briefly now. But they seem to, kind of like with their consoles and their concepts, they seem to want to. The way they view their online is the way they view their concepts for games and controllers, where with each generation they have a new idea how they want to approach a console. So with the Wii, they want to approach online in this way. With the Wii U, they want to approach online with this way. With the Switch, they came out straight away and said they want a streamlined basic process for online. That's how they wanted to approach it for the Switch. But that's how they think, I feel. And they don't... I'm sure they feel about the consumers, but in their minds, they can get the consumers with their games. And that's how they get us. With their games. With SNES, with SNES Online now, it's like it's taken them 2 years to do it. But now all of a sudden we're just like, oh man, okay, I can play these games online with my friends. And we're all playing, streaming SNES games, co-op online with our friends now. It's how they get us. Not in a bad way, because we love their games, but it's how they can stop us from not raging, because we always will rage, but it's how they could just keep us there in their claws without us completely rebelling and completely abandoning. It's for the most part, people do, but for the most part, most of us stick around because we need those Nintendo games online.
Yeah.
But
hold that thought 1 second. Clocked it. So Ravioli Pedal, welcome to the stream. So the way you enter is you just have to do 2 things, or 3 things. Sorry, you have to subscribe to this channel. You have to Be here next Sunday for a live stream, and it's going to be around the same time. I will post basically early in the morning on Sunday. What I'll do is I'll make a YouTube, like a what do you call it? Where we're gonna see when my live stream is exactly gonna be
A
live.
scheduled
A scheduled
event.
live stream, yeah, a scheduled event. You'll be able to see it on my channel. And the only other thing you have to do is either go to my Instagram or to the Twitter and either like that post or retweet and like that on Instagram and Twitter respectively. One or the other, not both. They're both at Think Game Talk. So sub to the channel. Be here next Sunday and retweet or like the post. All right, and that's it. Next Sunday, meaning tomorrow. No, sorry. So that's going to be the following Sunday. So that's not tomorrow. That's going to be next Sunday.
And it doesn't matter if you live in the UK, the US,
US,
Australia. No, sorry, no, we've got to cut it off at the Australia. No, I'm joking. Yeah, it doesn't matter where you live. The game, we'll get to you.
Yeah. I came here from Twitter. Awesome. So you got that down. You got that down packed already. So all I got to do is subscribe and then be here next Sunday. And in the meantime, if you wanna jump on Discord and chat with us or play some Super Nintendo games online with me, you're more than welcome to do so.
So another thing I wanted to ask you, Clocked It. I'm not. Well, I guess I have complained on Twitter about it in a funny way, but it's becoming annoying. Why do you think? Because I think it happened last year. It certainly happened the year before, if I remember. Why is Nintendo seem to be backloading the year so heavily?
Don't complain, man. Too many games.
No, I shouldn't. No, I shouldn't complain because I
know what you
remember
mean.
the dark days of the Wii U, months without a first-party game or a decent game. But in this month alone, there's just what's that?
I think that's when people buy the games. They're not going to release games. They have to have some kind of data that shows, hey, later in these months people don't buy games so much. In these months people do buy games. There has to be some kind of planning to that. I refuse to believe that it's just like, oh well, I guess we'll just backfill the year. There's got to be some kind of planning. They have to have some kind of data, some kind of information that tells them, maybe it's not about sales. Maybe it's about momentum. Maybe more importantly than having sales early in the year is having sales momentum in the middle of the year that brings it to the end of the year, which is factually the largest time for any kind of electronics, any kind of merchandise is always, they make their bulk of sales. I used to work for Sears and they would tell us this all the time, that we make the most money in just the months of November, December. That's pretty much where all our money comes from, is from those 2 months. So maybe they figure instead of, doing that early on, who cares? People will forget about it once they start getting all these games later on, the momentum and building towards the end of the year. That's just a thought that I have. I'm not saying that's what's happening, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, another thing you got to take into consideration as well, I think, is that at the end of the day as well, you're going to get to the point where you're just getting quality games after quality games, and as you say, sometimes if you just release one game a month, that's just 12 games a year, not just from Nintendo, but from their third-party partners as well, who they're collaborating with on certain games. Well, it's going to get to the point where you're just going to have great games coming out on these consoles that are popular. And at the moment, the Switch is 2.5 years old. All these great games are being made. So what can you do? Do you hold them back just because you feel like there's these 2 other great quality games that are coming out, or do you do what Nintendo do, where they kind of know which ones are their big possible sellers, so they put those in key months. Yeah, which is what we're still seeing right now for this year.
Yeah.
But then at the same time you get the astral chains, which is a Nintendo essential first party because it's Nintendo owned, but it's done by one of their partners. Yeah, we're getting Daemon X Machina. These are all Nintendo games essentially, but not Nintendo games. So Nintendo need to get their games in there as well. They need to get a third-party partner games in there. Then you just need to get the quality third-party games in there. People can, now scoff at stuff like Overwatch and stuff, but Overwatch is still a big freaking deal. It's still a massive, third-party game for the Switch. People are still going to buy it. So where do you dump that now? Even though Nintendo have already released release dates for everything that's coming out on their site, it's just going to get to the point at sometime where there's just too much quality coming out. People will literally just have to decide on what they can buy there and then, and just move on. And backlogs will just be backlogs for the average person, whereas other people I saw people complete Astral Chain in 2 days. I'm still playing it now.
See, my opinion has changed now because I hate people that talk logically. No, I just can't. No, I'm sorry. No, but no, listening to it makes it. Yeah, of course it makes sense. I'm just like, you're lucky if you can afford all the games you want that are coming out. You know what I mean? And let's face it, those games aren't going anywhere. I'm still going to be able to pick up whatever games I'm not getting this year. They're going to be there at the beginning of next year for however long. So,
but that's see what Nintendo is doing is they're giving us the summer months to cut people's lawns and get that money. That way we could save up.
Yeah.
There's just a bunch of grown men cutting people's lawns all the time, and they're Nintendo fans. And they're trying to save up for the last half of the year.
Yeah.
Real quick, Universal 64 says there's so much coming out in September. And he says, and then you look at October. It's ridiculous, man.
I have too many games anyway.
Oh
way too many.
I've never. Do you remember another time when, as a Nintendo fan, you were this overwhelmed with games? Because I don't, even in the Switch's lifetime, I don't think there was this much.
It's a stupid mistake. I did it on the 360, and I think you saw my post that I posted the other day. And I'm now, just over 400 games on the Switch. It's ridiculous. Especially with no folders. Because
400 games, my God.
Even the Wii U had folders. You're right, man. I don't know why it doesn't have folders.
Trying to find a game sometimes can take 5, 6, 7 minutes because I can't see the wood for the trees, and I'm scrolling down and down and down, and it's right back up the top. It's.
Do you have to swap over memory cards? I'm guessing, don't you?
I got I've got a 512 and I've got a 400 gigabyte. But as soon as the 1 terabytes become
gigabyte,
as soon as the 1 terabytes become affordable, that's what I want to get, because it's a pain having to swap memory cards because you actually have to switch the Switch completely off.
Yeah, you got it.
Just take it out and put another one in. Sadly, I wish they would update that somehow. But first world problems, eh?
Then with the Wii U, you could just chuck in slot in a external hard drive, which is what I do.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
Universal
backwards
64
again, but
says no folders, no themes, and I ask why. Why no themes? I just opened up my 3DS the other day, and awesome Splatoon 2 theme, Splatoon theme, and I was like, oh my gosh, why don't we have this yet on the Switch, man?
Nintendo around the world has social media teams monitoring and putting out to social media. So clocked it. They see us all asking for this stuff. It would be money. It would be money in the bank. People would buy themes and things like that. Why? I'm hoping it's something that's coming and it's being worked on. But over 2.5 years into the Switch's life, and it's still not here. Am I asking too much?
I think once again you got to get into the Nintendo mentality. How they want the console to be, and like I said, how they wanted to be. They've came out and pretty much given us the answers already. They wanted the eShop to just be a transaction place. Not a fluffy, dolled up place where it was like the Wii U. It got beautiful music in the background, cool windows scrolling everywhere and all this stuff. It's not what they wanted for the Switch, and I feel like it's just going back to what they want for that system, and the consumer be damned, type of thing. And like I
I
say, you
wonder.
can point out
You know
background.
what though? I
So,
wonder if it's not them. I wonder if it's not them. This is a crazy thought. I just thought of this. It might just be
mhm.
too crazy. It might just be a fleeting thought. But I wonder if it's not them protecting themselves from all these microtransactions, all these gambling online that they have. That I don't know if you're aware of that. NBA 2K 20 now has literal gambling on it, and
It
and
has
it,
a. Is it slot machine? No, not slot machine. Yeah, slot machines, isn't
slot
it?
machines, yeah. So, and a lot
Yeah.
of a
Yeah,
lot
yeah.
of it has to do, because it's a lot of audio visual pleasure that you get from putting money into these things. So I wonder if it's not them just protecting themselves from people saying, "Oh, I just, like I said, it's just a stupid thought," but people saying, or there being a case for defense or something out there, saying that, oh, the eShop is made to attract little kids on there because of their visual, the sounds, you know what I'm saying, and them buying stuff on there. I know it's a
Well,
crazy thought, but they're so conservative, man, that you can't help but think of something like that.
yeah, I get the thought process. I think my only argument would be against that is that we still have the 3DS on the market. They still advertise it. You
You're
got
right.
kids, and if you watch a kids' TV panels, literally all the adverts, they still advertise Mario Kart 7, and the 2DS, to get people to buy it. But the 3DS is still on the market,
Well,
and
in that case, then I'll argue this then, that if you did have, nice music on the eShop, that only brings you more, like only impulses you more to go onto the eShop. You know what I'm saying? Like there's no
yeah, yeah,
that doesn't to me, it doesn't make any sense to not have stuff like that.
Just one
yeah.
quick point, Koloko.
Yeah.
You know, down the bottom of the screen where it says Start button ZRZL to
Yes.
suspend. You know, you can get rid of that now, don't you?
How? I
Go
had
into the
no idea.
settings. Go into settings on the main menu. They haven't done it for the NES yet, I don't think, but on this app, you can now get rid of
Oh, you
that
have to go to the
annoying
main menu.
controls.
I think you
Yes,
gotta go back out, yeah. And then,
yeah, yeah. Sorry, it was just annoying me
No,
seeing it
thank
there,
you.
and
I
I'm
know it
thinking,
annoys me too, and I was like, oh man,
does he know
I wish that
about it or
wasn't.
not? But
Yes.
anyway, clocked it. Please continue. Sorry for interrupting.
yeah, no, it's okay. All I was going to add was it's just that where because Andrew, what do you like to be called on your channel, man? Andrew Koloko.
Good, doesn't
I know
matter.
you
Yeah.
you
Andrew
say both.
Coloco. Yeah.
Um, the only just when you mentioned microtransactions, Nintendo themselves haven't been shy of them. In some respects, they try to make them fun on their side. So when I mentioned the 3DS, is that you had and themes is that you had the theme shop, okay, which has all these themes that you buy from, but also to help promote that, you had the arcade bunny, and the arcade bunny
Yeah,
allowed you to win pins that you would put onto your 3DS homepage, and that was all for the most part microtransactions. Now, don't get me wrong, I never paid a single penny because it was quite generous in giving you a free go every now and then, and I won quite a few pins. But the main aim of the game was microtransactions, and that wasn't the only game that they'd done. They'd done a baseball game as well on the 3DS, which is microtransactions, where you would decide on how much you wanted to pay for something. That was Nintendo's way of trying to encourage people to essentially do microtransactions on this game. How much do you want to pay for it? I don't know. I reckon it's worth a cent, a penny. Oh, okay, fine, that's fine. And then I think he was haggled against you a little bit, but they're not against it. But at the same time, like you said, we always know how essentially protective they can be. So it's difficult. We it's because we're not them. We don't know all the answers. All we can do is just grab what we know, plus the information from out there, and try and put some logic to it. And sometimes we can't even find the logic. Sometimes, for even simple stuff, even if it was just non-animated, backgrounds of simple designs, just like a Triforce or a mushroom, compared to just the normal black and white themes that we already have on the console. Even basic static stuff like that wouldn't necessarily be an issue for the system. It wouldn't necessarily slow it down, and would get people to to buy that stuff. But here we are still, and haven't seen anything. So
one thing I have noticed, and I think Nintendo has to address it soon. When I go on the eShop, I don't know if it's because I have so many games although they shouldn't be taking up memory if I'm not playing them. If I go to like recent releases, I start scrolling down, and then all of a sudden the cursor just freezes, and it takes a while to load the next row, then the next row, then the next row.
That's just the eShop. Yeah.
It really slows down, and it can become annoying because it's like, you know, I want to see the next row. Like I say, first world problems, eh? Jesus. But hopefully it's something they can patch or something. Like I say, it's just a niggly problem. And everything I moan about, Nintendo, the company you love to hate. You know, I mean, they're my favorite, but also, man, do they annoy me sometimes. Just, I don't know. The Switch, I still can't say it's my favorite system of all time. I don't know. If right now, if I had to say my favorite system of all time isn't actually a console, it's a computer. It's the Amiga 1200. Love that thing.
Should
but-
the age, I mean.
Oh man, I love. Oh, awesome.
Hey yo, hey yo's here. Hey yo, welcome to the stream. That's his name. Hey yo.
Oh right, got ya. I wonder what you're saying now. What? But no, I don't know. Is anyone going to be getting either the what do we call it? The Switch Revision and or the Switch Lite? Anyone?
Yeah, I'm gonna get it.
I don't know yet.
Same here.
I don't know. If I get it, it's for my kids. But then when I watch my kids play my Switch now, they actually do switch between a TV and a handheld. They like doing both. So I kind of don't want to restrict them in doing that. You know, we got the new Switch model out now, longer battery life and stuff. So if I was going to get one, I'd probably pay the extra and get that for them. But I think that's only going to happen when Breath of the Wild 2 comes out, because there's no way I'm sharing this console again when I'm playing Breath of the Wild 2. So it's not happening.
Yeah, I'm gonna get it just because my kids lately, he's been like that's been his favorite thing to do lately is game, and I've been trying to get him on the Wii U, on the 3DS, but come on, he knows the good stuff. He knows where the good stuff is at, so he likes to switch, man.
I used to play my Switch probably more in docked than portable mode, handheld mode, and then probably about 5 months ago, I noticed I was squinting a little bit, right? And so I went to the opticians, and he was like, "Yeah, you need glasses." As soon as I got the glasses right, I turned on the Switch, and I'm like, "Whoa, is that what HD actually looks like?" And now,
Oh my god!
and now in portable mode, that screen is so clear. There's no squinting or anything. I am playing mainly in portable mode now. But yeah, it's like, so that's what HD actually looks like. Yeah. Yeah. Crazy stuff. Oh god.
That's pretty bad.
Yeah. I'm guessing like Nintendo would be happy to have a bunch of fans like you that just have to squint hard enough. They don't have to worry about the HD visuals.
Keep the 3DS screen, isn't it?
What do you guys
save some money?
What do you guys think of that new patent? Did you guys see the patent for the
the foldable Joy-Con?
Yeah.
The bendy, clickable looking ones. Yeah.
I don't know.
It kind of like bends at the top, doesn't it?
Yeah. I don't know. There's so many patents, not just Nintendo, but lots of companies put out that never come to fruition. But knowing Nintendo, I've seen some people on Twitter who are like, "No, this just wouldn't work." If anyone can make it work, I think it would be Nintendo, and it might feel comfortable. But I don't know. I don't need it. I don't think. I like the Joy-Cons. Yeah, I'm indifferent at the moment. So
yeah, you always got to be careful with patents. You know, it's cool to see what designs get put forward. For possibilities or ideas, and I always try not to say what won't work with Nintendo. because if a lot of people when they first saw the Wiimote, it's just like what what are we going to do this? It's got one button. How's this going to work?
Yeah.
And then we know what happens. So and it's kind of like with this new thing that we're seeing now that they're doing a teaser for with this bendy circle thing that
What
they're
is
doing.
that, man?
It's
that? I don't know. What that is.
I haven't said much on it yet because I've been looking at it and trying to think what it could possibly be or whatever.
Are you going to do a video on it?
I don't know. It seems quite strong in terms of what the strength it needs to bend it and stuff. So I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued. It's exciting to to still see this Nintendo. We always worry with like with the new president coming on, and we got 1-2 Switch, and until Labo, that was the only real Wii era type thing that we kind of really got with the Switch. Maybe arms I would say as well, in terms of motion controls and getting you involved. The 1-2 Switch was fully essentially dependent on motion controls, whereas arms you could play normally. So it's kind of exciting to see him still doing these wacky ideas. And I am. When's it being shown? The 12th, isn't it? So it's not even that long, like So,
yeah.
We'll find out soon if it's just some
From what we've seen, doesn't it have to be a fitness or part of it something to do with fitness? But from everyone's faces in that advert, something exciting, or they're trying to make it look exciting, is going on the screen they're watching. So I don't know.
I don't know.
I know.
Maybe a Wii Sports 2, like a Wii Sports.
Yeah,
Switch
but
or something?
so even if we just talk Wii Sports 2, and when you just mentioned just then you're kind of like, will it be some fit thing? I tell you what, Wii Sports Resort, Wii Sports, and Wii Fit are some of the best multiplayer times I've had in a long time. They are hilarious when you have the right people just there playing with you. They're creative, they're fun, they're just engaging. They are just really, really good games. So if we do get like Andrew just said, a Wii Sports 2, I'll be all over it. A lot of people might, a lot of people can brush off and say, that's not a core game. I would argue all day, every day against that. Wii Sports Resorts and Wii Sports and all this stuff, they are core games because they are just great multiplayer games that everyone can play, and they have their own characters. They have Mii's, and Mii's are probably more popular than most video game characters that you can mention, at least today. If you mention a Mii to someone, they go, "Oh yeah, they were the guys on the Wii. Yeah, it was me and stuff." Compared to if you go, "Do you know who Kratos is?" Huh?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, Mii's are characters. So if this here we go. This is another thing with the Switch. We have Mii's on there, but how much are they being used? It's just we had these great avatars carrying over, and they're used a tiny bit, but I suppose it's just like
used more on the 3DS than they're used. I mean, they even got a whole game that's just about a couple of games.
Aren't they used in Smash? The Mii fighters, kind of, I guess.
Yeah, so they carried over from the Wii generation into the Smash game, because this is a Smash game where everyone returns. And I do feel like the Mii's are still an important thing for Nintendo, but they could always be more important. For us, we love our Mii's, really. A lot of people like to laugh at them and stuff, but we love creating them. We love seeing them walk around and appear in games and stuff. Just like, hey, this is cool. I could be myself. And my kids will still play Mario Kart 8 Deluxe and pick their own Mii's. And just like, hey, man, don't you want to go Link, or Splatoon girl? They're like, no, I want to go myself. I'm like, okay, fine, whatever. It's up to you. The characters there, and they still have Mii's. That's a character in the game, and it's them. They love that stuff.
Right.
Yeah, sorry, going back to those control things. They could be anything. I can't really tell benefit they would bring right now. Just by how they bend at the top, I don't know what that could do just off the top of my head. But like I said, these patterns are intriguing, and I'm sure something else
Yeah.
will pop up in the future. Yeah.
Right, now this is the defining question. This will decide whether I delete you off my Switch friends list. Or... No, it won't. Right. The Direct. Now, Koloko did a live stream. We watched it together and that. I saw on Twitter quite a few people, if you thought this Direct was great, blah, 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 blah. It wasn't the best Direct I've ever seen, but I thought it was a really good Direct. And I think Koloko thought it was a really good Direct as well.
Yeah.
What did you think, Clocked It? Were you expecting more, or did it satisfy you?
I think what you're really trying to say is that I haven't done a video yet and I'm being lazy.
Look, if you're going to do a video, then obviously just well, you don't have to answer, because then
no, it's fine, because I when I was on your stream, I jumped off because I was going to record it myself, and I watched it and I recorded it, and then I realized I was chatting away and my microphone was only halfway plugged in and I didn't record anything. So yeah, I recorded the whole thing, but hey, these things happen, but it won't stop me from doing a video or still talking about it now. But no, I thought the Direct was good, overall. I think what we a lot of people won't like recognize game. I'm also into the PC scene as well. I still PC game and stuff. I'm always got my ears open. So seeing games like Obra Dinn and Divinity 2 and stuff. Are all games that I've been on my Steam wish list.
Sorry. I kind of like I went out to add someone as friends, and then I paused the game and I came back. He wasn't ready, and I served him right when he. All right, sorry about that.
That's
the only way you can win, cheating. Sorry, Clark. Sorry.
No. It's just I thought the Direct was good. It was sorry, that's my Hangouts bleeping away. Then let me turn that down. Yeah, I thought it was good. It showed a lot of stuff that we knew was coming. A lot of stuff as well. People knew a lot of spoilers, and that always takes away the hype. So if something like Overwatch didn't get leaked, you'd be like, "Whoa, Overwatch coming to the Switch! This is crazy."
Bloody Kotaku, mere hours before that Direct, actually confirmed it. Yes, I know we'd seen that case on Amazon, but for me, that wasn't confirmation, absolute confirmation. That could have been, I know it wasn't, but that could have been a very clever mock-up by someone. It could have been. But Kotaku, I can only think they did it for the clicks for their website and that. Why spoil just hours before? Because that makes me feel, and I hate saying this, sorry for Activision and Nintendo, who went to the trouble of trying to keep that as secret as possible, and then boom, it's out mere hours before the Direct.
Yeah. And Blizzard have done it. They've tried to hide this twice. The Diablo 3 reveal. A lot of effort went into that reveal trailer. A lot of effort went into that reveal trailer, and that got leaked before as well. So, this is so-called professional journalism, right? These guys get paid and then spoil everyone's fun. But if stuff like Overwatch didn't get leaked, and I don't think there would be as much hate for Terry Bogard if for SNK if that didn't get leaked, because people were already making themselves essentially upset or non dismissal before and stuff, whether the character or not, it don't matter. But it was a Smash reveal, and all Smash reveals can still be hype, whether the character or not. And that's why we love Smash reveals. But I thought the Direct overall, they covered, there's a lot of stuff in there. I didn't want to look at any more of Luigi's Mansion, and Link's Awakening. Those are my two hype games for this year. But they're both looking, crazy good to me. So it's fine to see it again. Great to see Daemon X Machina again. I feel like that game needs to keep on getting bigged up, because it has made crazy improvements. So people are seeing it, and we get lots of new stuff. And we might have seen Animal Crossing before, but we got to see more Animal Crossing stuff we haven't seen before, and I can't wait for Animal Crossing.
Game looks
And
chill, man. Game looks
yeah,
incredibly chill.
it's
Real quick, clock. Let
if,
me just interrupt just 1 second. Hey,
no,
don't
sorry,
cheat, don't cheat, don't cheat. Hold on. So I just want to say I'm sorry about your mother, Junior. I hope that she's okay. I hope his mom has an allergic reaction in the hospital right
Yeah.
now. And Tokyo Chicken, welcome to the stream. How's it going? I'm doing really good. I'm here with my buddies. If you want to jump on Discord and chat with us, here is the link. So that's pretty much it. Wait, Universal 64 says that Xenoblade Definitive Edition wasn't leaked, and wow, I was so happy.
I would just quickly say to anyone that thinks SNK doesn't deserve to be represented in Smash, that company's been making some of arguably, some of the best fighting games for what, 25, 30 years, something like that. Their place in Smash, to me anyway, and I don't even play Smash, is deserved.
Oh yeah, for sure. And Terry's awesome, man. I don't understand why people don't like Terry. I mean, he's a cool
I don't think it's people that don't. I don't think it's people don't like him. It's just that it's. At the end of the day, King. The funny thing is, it's been like a massive fighting game resurgence. Especially through the 360 generation and up to this generation, where we saw, these names go back a bit lights. If you mention Street Fighter 3 to people, I bet you hardly anyone plays Street Fighter 3. It was actually one of the most shunned Street Fighters ever because they changed the characters in the game from Street Fighter 2.
I remember that.
They tried to make this character Alex the main character in Street Fighter 3. People didn't like that, and not many people play Street Fighter 3. So when Street Fighter 4 came out, and then they blasted everyone with Chun-Li and Ryu and Ken and Blanka and everyone, they're just like, "Hey, Street Fighter's back!" As if it just literally just turned up then.
Yeah.
And it's kind of similar for Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat, no one, so many people skipped Mortal Kombat 4. Back during the Dreamcast and N64 eras. And it wasn't until Mortal Kombat made a massive, comeback again. In its recent resurgence, that people started the masses really started taking notice again. And King of Fighters had been there, Soul Calibur had been there, Tekken had been there, and I'd argue Tekken until now, Tekken 7 had only really been brought back into the limelight. So sometimes people can, forget and also just consider these games old because it's kind of like Crash Bandicoots where people say, "Oh man, I remember Crash Bandicoot, man. I loved it on the PlayStation 1, but it was on the PlayStation 2. It was on the GameCube. It was on the Wii. It's Crash Bandicoot and Spyro had so many games. With Skylanders and stuff, they'd always been there. But it's when people decide to pay attention to certain franchises, and certain IPs that they themselves personally consider more important. But as we point out, SNK, they've been around on my Switch. I downloaded this months ago. The Mark of Guru, which is a Fatal Fury game, beat 'em up. Fantastic. It was on the Dreamcast. I got Metal Gear Metal Slug 3, which is my favorite Metal Slug. I used to play in the arcades. I got that on there. So I've always known SNK. I still dip in SNK. I still got my old SNK games. That's me. Because as a gamer, I've kind of always just dipped in multiple circles. But I tell you, sorry, tell me to shut up anytime because sometimes I can just waffle on. I'm so sorry.
I just want to point out real quick that it's kind of weird that Michael J. Fox and Teen Wolf is standing right there behind our nets. I don't know if you guys could see him, but it's definitely Michael J. Fox from Teen Wolf or or three guys from Planet of the Apes. Like you'll see the guys I'm talking about. Those guys.
All I'm going to say
in the
is
blue jumpsuits.
What you were talking about fighting games clocked it. I used to play fighting games on all the early consoles and that, and then I don't play fighting games. I can't really put my finger on why. I guess the only reason I can come up with is because I'm crap at them, so I don't play them. But I can appreciate fighting games, and I look at a game like Smash, and what was it Street Fighter 5 that came out quite recently,
Mm-hmm.
and the roster for that
It's horrendous.
it was atrocious, and I don't know. I'm getting off point. Anyway.
But Street Fighter V didn't sell well either initially, and it
No,
was
it didn't. No.
and it didn't have an arcade option. Literally, you cannot go like every other fighting game out there and just fight a CPU and have them increase level by level. No, they added the arcade way after, like it's released, like 6 months after, something like that. Like,
what were they thinking?
I don't know.
Yeah, I would digital age. What I'll argue against you a little in terms of you saying you're being crap at them. I still got fighting games now. The last one I bought for the PS4 was Guilty Gear Xshare. And I played it for a bit, but then you come to the realization with some of these games, when you buy games like this, you have to dedicate a lot of time to them in order to learn all the characters, to master the moves. This was fighting games. Back in the day, you had all that time. You only played Street Fighter 2, you only played King of Fighters, you only played Mortal Kombat, but you were a kid as well. You had the time to drill into this. Now, there's a point where I played World of Warcraft, right? It took 5 years of my life away, yeah? And it took me, I realized how much console gaming I was missing out on because I was just so addicted to World of Warcraft.
Took a couple from me too.
Yeah, I stopped. I went back. I caught up with everything. I was like, man, I missed console gaming, and that's what can happen when you dedicate yourself to just one genre or one game. Yeah, you can be taken away from everything else that's going on around you. People are still playing Destiny 1.
That's crazy.
And you got Destiny. People would just live on there, do the same things, dailies over and over again. I got both Destiny 1 and 2. People still go on there, play them over and over again. Just play co-op, not co-op, PvP. Yeah, I'm going on PvP now. I'm addicted to it, and that's all they will play. Like people, all they play is Call of Duty until the next Call of Duty come out. So if you mention another first-person shooter to them, they're like, man, I ain't got time for that. I don't want to play that. I don't pay any attention to that.
Now, now let me ask you something. This is more like a philosophical question than. Do you think that when as far as it comes to gaming, as philosophical as you could get, do you think that the more of those type of games, the more a casual of an audience? Or do you think that there's a clear decisive between casuals and those type of games where they can completely involve you, like a Destiny or like a Call of Duty or like a fighting game or even sports games, and a hardcore or what's considered a hardcore gamer, and them being someone that plays a lot of different kinds of games? Do you think that that's basically how they're divided?
Nope. When you mention I think these are just definitions, aren't they? How we interpret them. Hardcore, to me, hardcore is that person just playing Call of Duty, just playing World of Warcraft, just playing Destiny. Casual, to me, is someone who dips in and out of gaming, no matter what. They just dip in and out. A gamer, to me, is someone who moves around multiple circles, but their main engagement is gaming. Yeah, they live in gaming. They dip in and out of what the industry's saying, what other people are saying, different genres of stuff, and have a understanding of gaming overall. That's my preferred. That's my preferred market, not the hardcore. It's too extreme for me. They seclude themselves. Not the casual. They dip in and out, and they will abandon you at the drop of a hat, just like they abandoned the Wii U after the Wii. Whereas the general average gamer will stick around in gaming, and even if they didn't buy a Wii U, they'll still know about it, still know what games get released on it, and decide if they want to buy them or not. But they know what's going on. They're in there. So those are kind of my definitions of
so
those
what
things.
what would you class someone then who, how can I say this, right, plays games, I don't know, X amount of hours a week, but what they don't really do is go out of their way to look up the latest news on what Nintendo, Sony, and Microsoft are doing. They don't. All they do is just play the games. No other part of the industry are they interested in. Are they casuals? Are they gamers and not hardcore gamers? What would you
I
class
would
them
call
as?
those people non-existent.
Yeah,
I don't
it's
think
going to
you
be
can.
pretty difficult.
Yeah, I don't think you can be like that without. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think you can be on top of, being so many, different kinds of genres and play so many different games without
Hmm.
constantly being on the know of what those games are.
Yeah, you can just like, for example, if I mean, buying has changed, right? Most people buy online now, right? But you can still be that person who walks into a video game shop, scan the shelves, but not buy a single magazine. But you can still see all the games on the shelves. Yeah, you've heard the Crash Bandicoot. Yeah, you've heard the Super Mario. Yeah, you can see it on the TVs and stuff. So you're still engaged with gaming in itself because you browse these stores. I can't imagine anyone who would, for example, I can't imagine a gamer who only lives on Amazon and checks the Amazon top 10 and then decides what they want to buy. I can't
Yeah,
get that type. I
yeah.
can't get that type of person in my head. That's just too weird. It's
It,
yeah. I've never heard of anyone
It's
doing
just
that.
that we,
So
we live in such a world that social media is so involved with everybody's life. Like, dude, my
yeah,
mom is on social media. My mom's on social media. Any gaming person is on social media. Like, come on. Like, and that's the thing. Everybody, but this is a thing. The difference is that a lot of people might not branch out to different types of social media and just stay with their one place that they go to and just stick with that. And I wouldn't be surprised if
yeah,
a majority of people are like that. They'll just go to the one website. They'll just go to the one social media place. They won't branch out at
yeah,
all. They don't, you know what I'm saying? And that's I think where a lot of where people just don't know what's going on comes from.
yeah, but don't
yeah,
forget, I'm 40 in my 40s. Um, it, I've grown up with technology from the BBC Micro ZX81 and onwards. Um, and even when I was in the army, every chance we got, we didn't have every console, but we had some. Um, but being in my mid to late 40s, I find it. Instagram, never used it in my life. Never. I have no inclination to use Instagram. Twitter is hard enough for me as it is.
You're not that old. Come on.
I seriously, when I first got on Twitter, and you could hear people saying, "Oh, DM me on this. DM me. What's DM and how do I do it?" It took me ages to work out how to DM someone. I didn't know how.
Dungeon Master me. Dungeon Master me.
Do you know what I mean? But no, I guess you're right. The question I asked about someone who just games but doesn't keep up with what's going on, if they exist at all, lives in an igloo somewhere, in the Arctic. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Very, very few. Yeah,
And
yeah.
what Andrew is, kind of, I think what he might have been finishing up on as well is what we call, people who just stay in a single ecosystem. So if you're a Sony fan, somehow, somewhere, you're gonna hear about the new Uncharted, you're gonna hear about the new God of War because Sony. This is where the marketing comes in, right? This is where Sony have always been. This is how they became who they were, right? They had the marketing muscle to make everything in your face and look cool. So if you're alive today and you're able to somehow avoid TVs, phones and PCs, then that's where I agree. You're living in some beautiful rural village left, devoid of internet or anything, but somehow your local post office has the latest God of War on sale. It's it's I feel like you will be involved somehow, and then it just comes to the level of degrees in how you are involved, and that's for all entertainment. It's for all entertainment, whether it's music, whether it's movies, whether it's literature. You could have people who just live in libraries, live online, waiting for these new authors to publish your stuff. You got movie critics and movie goers who know every actor under the sun, just like we know every video game character under the sun, for the
Yeah.
most part, because these are the areas that we're involved in. And there will just be those other people who sit around it, dip in and out, just stay in one part of it, just watching horror movies, just playing horror games. They don't like anything else, and that's absolutely fine. It's just what we personally decide to categorize these people, which is always sounds terrible, doesn't it? Just I believe you're this type of gamer, and I don't ever try to do it in a disrespectful
No, of course
and
not.
I've been gaming since I was 5. I know more than you. I don't. If I ever
That
do that, I prefer someone to call me out and say it, and I'm more than happy to say, oh shit, yeah, you're right.
Or even the calling different level, like that's not a real gamer. It's like, come on, man, don't. That's so cringe right there when people say that. Like, you're not a real gamer. Don't try to gatekeep anybody. Like, even if they play on their cell phones or they play games, they're still gaming. Like there's no need to
I've
gatekeep
just
anyone.
noticed actually, Tokyo Chicken has been sitting in the Discord for about. I'm not sure. Tokyo Chicken,
What?
are you there?
I've been sitting here for like a good 15
I
minutes.
do apologise.
Oh my god.
Oh my god, I've come in and taken over. I'm so sorry.
I apologise. I just clicked on the Discord tab and I'm looking. Oh my god, how long has he been sitting there? This is really embarrassing. Do apologise, man. Sorry.
I'm honestly just currently playing through the story mode of Gears 5, so it really wasn't bothering me all that much.
How is it, man? How is it? I hear it's amazing.
Compared to like the other Gears of Wars that were more focused on just the combat, this one is a lot more story based, and honestly, it's an insanely good turn for once.
Nice. I've not played a Gears of War since 3. I played 3 as the last one I played, but I didn't even. I have Gears of War 4 sitting in the Xbox One. There's a lot of games sitting on there I haven't touched. But have you guys played it?
On my Xbox dashboard, all that kept coming up over the last month is play Gears of War early with the Game Pass Ultimate. Has it actually officially launched now for everyone?
No. Early access started yesterday. It isn't officially out for everybody until Tuesday.
I didn't know that.
Tuesday. Right.
So the way that worked was it came with what they are calling the Ultimate Edition, which was just an extra $20. And that would give you 4 days early access and then like a bunch of cosmetic skins and whatnot.
Okay.
Right, got ya. I'll definitely. Sorry.
It's all good. But the only difference between the standard edition and the Ultimate Edition is basically just you get a couple days early access to like get used to the game.
Okay. Well, I will definitely download it on Tuesday. And give it a blast. I really enjoyed the first Gears of War. The second, after that, I must admit, I kind of waned off. But from what you've said and what I've read, a couple of things, sounds like this one, they could be back to the greatness of what Gears of War was.
What I would suggest that you do is at least try to play through Gears of War 4 before you start.
Can you not play with this?
Okay.
Because with Gears 5, it's kind of going off of Gears 4, which takes place like it takes place more than 15 years after the end of 3.
Right.
And there are a few things in 4 that you have to understand before you start playing 5. Otherwise, you will be not completely lost because they kind of do give you a recap at the very beginning, but it'll still be kind of odd.
It would be better if I played Gears 4, then I would know exactly what they're talking about and such. Yeah. Yeah, I can do that. I have Gears 4. Or my nephew does.
Does someone else want to jump in? Is that what it is? Does someone else want to jump in? That was a good game, Ayo. Sorry, but guys, sorry to interrupt. Does anybody else want to jump in? If not, we'll just keep going. Universal said they'll let peeps game. I'm not sure if you're trying to say like let someone else play or something. Oh well, how about this? How about we'll do this. If anybody wants to play after this race, then anybody that wants to play, let me know. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just saying. Either I've got Gears of War 4, or my nephew has, who lives with me, because we what do you call it? Where you can link two Xboxes together and you can share game sharing, whatever it's called on Xbox. I forget what it's called now.
It's called
But
game
yeah.
sharing, yeah.
Yeah, game sharing. Brilliant. So yeah, I can do that. Yeah, that's no problem. So
But the other thing that I'm really liking about 5 is it's a semi-open world in a sense. So instead
Oh,
of it
nice.
being like linear levels and chapters, it's still broken up into like acts and chapters like all other Gears stories are. But you kind of have an open map that you can travel around.
that sounds interesting,
I
actually.
hear it looks great. It looks like one of the best looking games. I saw some article where it said it's like the best looking game ever made.
Oh, it's insanely pretty. Like they've got a bunch of stuff right on this game, and
So I'd better be wearing my glasses when I play it then,
of course,
because otherwise it'd just be like 540p to me, mate.
yeah, I would not recommend that.
There was something I was going up. No, it's gone right out of my head now. Cloco, see, you start talking, it goes right out of my head. No, I'm only. No, no, I can't remember what it was now. Flipping heck.
So could I ask Tokyo a question? Sorry,
Sure.
because I've always been quite vocal about my not disdain, but I've never loved the Gears series. I played 1, 2, and 3 on a 360, and I haven't played 4. The Xbox One is actually the only modern system I haven't ever bought. So. With one of my problems with the Gears of War series, how they evolved the stuff was, I used to play a lot of games like Perfect Dark, like Jet Force Gemini, and what I loved, especially Jet Force Gemini, what I loved about these third-person shooters was that you could target limbs, shoot people's legs off, to wound them, make them go down on one knee, and shoot the gun out of their arms and stuff like that. And it's always something that irked me about the Gears of War series is that you just see these little splatters of blood no matter where you're shooting them, and it wouldn't really matter. Have they evolved that type of combat now, so it's a bit more tactical in terms of how you shoot creatures instead of just going for your typical headshot? Can you shoot them in the leg to drop them down and then shoot them in the head or anything like that? Or?
It all depends on really of what type of gun you use, because each gun obviously has a different amount of damage that it's going to do. So, for example, if you use the Nasher, which is like the mainstay shotgun of the game, 2 shots and you're going to be blowing people like in 3 or 4 different parts. But if you use something like the Lancer, which is obviously like the mainstay assault rifle, then if you shoot them in the right spots, you can down them, and then you can either execute them or use them as like a shield.
Okay, so it has pushed it a bit more then in terms of nice body targets, making it just a bit more tactical, engaging.
Yeah, a bit more tactical, definitely.
And
yeah,
the thing
that's good. That's good to hear.
The thing I've noticed in this one compared to all of the others is you actually have this robot named Jack running around, and you can fit him with a passive skill and a support skill. So you can use that to your advantage. So let's say you have an enemy behind cover, he has one that's like a flashbang, and he'll go over and he'll stun them out of cover. And there's also
so that's cool. I like that.
The enemy AI and just overall number of them has increased and gotten better, so you actually have to plan out your attack more instead of just rushing in.
I really appreciate that, something like that. I love it.
That's good to hear.
I love it when it's not so easy to just recognize patterns and move around the pattern. It's like you have to actually plan your moves. Like, okay, I love it when you have to use strategy in any kind of game.
Yeah, it just adds that something extra. I know what I was going to ask, actually. Clock tip. Now, I know you've got it because I watched your unboxing video of Astral Chain.
Yeah.
Right, two questions.
With the beautiful lightning I got on my
I saw that
lighting
unboxing
I got
video. That was great.
on my bed.
I wish I'd mentioned it now because the 3 games special editions I had ordered on Amazon, they cancelled all 3 of them on the same day.
What?
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
Astral Chain, Daemon X Machina, and Zelda, which I was getting for a friend in America. And I phoned them up and they said, well, what it must have been was when you ordered them, they were actually out of stock, but the system hadn't refreshed. And I'm like, well, hang on, it's taken you this long to realize that you haven't got any left. And anyway, yeah, so they've gone. But anyway, first question, how many hours have you put in? Second question, if you haven't completed it yet, what are your thoughts at the moment? If you have completed it, what are your overall thoughts?
On Astral Chain, yeah.
Yeah.
Which I've been calling Astral Chain Train for some reason. I keep on getting my tongue
Astral
tied with
Train.
it.
I kept
Yeah,
on.
Astral
I
Train.
actually called it Astral Plane in my review. I said Astral
Well,
Plane like more than
I
once.
did notice that you called it Astral Plane, and
Yeah.
I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing is, there is a realm in the game called the Astral Plane. So,
Yeah.
you're too far off, so you're all right. No, I think I got about 15, 16 hours in it now. So
Okay.
I'm getting through it. As you know, man, I got 5 kids to feed, and even with the Switch, it's hard to find time to play these games. So I can't do it in 2 days like some people. But yeah, I'm getting there. I think I'm getting close to the end now. There's been some pretty cool revelations, but yeah, I done I done a video before where I was one of those fun videos I was trying to make where I was trying to think of games where a game hasn't quite done something that I've wanted yet. Like an Akira type of game, like a almost or like a Princess Mononoke type of game. Even though Breath of the Wild comes quite close to that. And I mentioned Akira and Ghost in the Shell and all this stuff. And I said I'm waiting for the perfect game set in this type of universe for this type of game. And Astral Chain has nearly got there as well. It's a beautiful sci-fi universe. I absolutely love it. I love the police side of it, just doing stupid crap like chasing criminals and picking up cans of foam in the bin. Just all the little side stuff like that. That's fun video game stuff. That we can get lost in. Combat wise, I'm in a strange place. I'm almost even though it's not perfect, I'm almost preferring the battle system, as controversial as this might be, to Bayonetta. Now, let me say this now. Bayonetta has a much more refined and better battle system. But what Astral Chain does is it doesn't feel like a button masher, because you kind of it's a bit slower, but you're still also kind of forced. The way like the countering system works and the way the dodging works is that you can dodge, but don't always expect that you can just start button mashing straight away like you do with Witch Time and stuff. Yeah, with Astral Chain, you have to sometimes you got to completely back away and wait for the right opportunity. Or so many counters to come up, you can miss them, and then you got to actually make your own counters by doing multiple combos, and then wait for the counter to happen, and then be able to do so. So I kind of like how you're constantly engaged with switching up legions, with trying to decide when to do a counter, when to apply a counter and stuff. So I'm really enjoying the battle system. I'm enjoying the story. It's not anything earth shattering, but it's good enough to keep you going. And yeah, I'm really enjoying it. Really enjoying it. So that's what I am right now.
Okay. I've only put in maybe 3.5 hours, and so far the music is fantastic. The music that I've heard so far. The only, if I had to find one gripe, and I've noticed a few people saying this, is when you are controlling your legion, and then you have to remember, right, let go of this trigger to move the camera, and then start recontrolling the legion again.
I think I mentioned this. This is when that's this one little problem with the battle system I found is you can work around it. It's not broken, but it is a little niggle. So like when you lock onto enemies, you indent the right analog stick, you lock onto them, and then if there's multiple enemies, when you want to switch to a different enemy, you have to use the right analog stick, the camera, in order to switch across, to move the target across to the next enemy. But then at the same time, like you said, you're essentially controlling two different people on the screen, and naturally you're just reaching for that second analog stick to move the camera to face where you want to face, because you're kind of more engaged on your character and then letting your legion over there do something, but then you kind of want to spin around to see what's going on, but then you lose track of your enemy because you have to move the right analog stick. So yeah, I can understand that it is a little bit frustrating.
Yeah, and especially there's this one particular part which is a little bit later into the game, where let's just say you're kind of in a maze. I don't know if you've reached that part yet, either of you, and you have to use the one legion that's a dog to sniff your way through the maze. And oh my gosh, that was terrible, man. The camera was so bad because it's what you're saying. Like the right stick controls the camera, but the right stick also controls the legion. So it's weird, man. It's just a weird that's the only time where I'm like the camera and you know this secondary joystick controlling just is not working. Most of the game is fine. Most of the game is not bad. It's not that bad, but in that particular instance, it was pretty bad.
When they came up with the concept for this, I can only imagine the talks that must have gone on in how are we going to do this control scheme where essentially you are controlling two characters at the same time, but you also have to think about moving the camera. And I'm glad it's not a problem that I had to figure out, but you know, it's not game breaking for me. And you know, on the whole, like I say, 3.5 hours in, I'm enjoying it so far. I hope it sells well. I think it will. I think it has started selling well. And yeah, I'm enjoying it. And again, thank you to Amazon for sending me 2 copies. So yeah.
I think this is why they also wanted to focus on co-op in this game, because you won't have this issue then when one person's controlling the legion and one person just controlling the main character.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That's a
I
good
think that's why
point.
they wanted to focus on it.
Yeah, I never. Do you know what? I've not even thought about that. That's a good point. Yeah.
It's a shame.
You can't do
It's
online, right? You can't do online co-op.
no, you can't do online, so
Nah.
that's a shame. And then you could also, maybe argue a little, where this is one of those cases where we can go back to when we first started, talking about. I caught you talking about control schemes, where the Wii U gamepad was better for this, for Zombie U.
Yep.
Just better on there. Perhaps in one of these occasions, split Joy-Cons and motion controls used in various ways could have worked better.
You know what? You just said something very interesting, because Astral Chain has been in development for 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And
Has it really?
Yeah, 5 years. It was 5 years in development. So I'm wondering if they didn't originally intend to release that on the Wii U.
Yeah, perhaps.
But
I didn't realize it being in development for that long.
For 5 years. No. Now, that it's like Mark said though, like that doesn't take away what this game brings to the table. Like the little, that's just minor things. It's still Game of the Year material. That's how good it is. It's a
yeah.
I mean, the visuals are stunning. I mean, Game of the Year material doesn't mean that it's going to win Game of the Year. But I mean, when you compare it to the rest of the best stuff that this year has had to offer, is it really not?
Yeah,
I think from what I've played so far, and from what I've seen other people's videos and that, and other people have said, for them so far this is Game of the Year, and I'm not going to argue with them. Some of them have completed it, so they know a lot more about the game than I do. So I'm not going to say no, it's not. At the moment, I don't know. But even if it is, for some reason, I just can't see that he would have it. I don't know why. Maybe
no, it's not going to win it. No, it's not going to win.
I'm trying to think of everything that people have put for Game of the Year contender. I would say that you could put Sekiro up there, for sure.
Resident Evil remake. what was the other one that Capcom came out? Oh, the new Devil May Cry. I've heard people say, "Oh, that's the best game so far this year." I don't know. Like I said, I'm not going to say it's not a worthy
It does.
contender because I can't at the
I
moment.
think Borderlands 3
There's been a lot of
could
good
be
games.
there. Borderlands 3, Destiny, the Shadowkeep, depending how good it is, because the last one was so good, the DLC, and we already know that DLCs can win Game of the Year because it happened with Witcher 3.
Witcher 3, yeah.
So it can win if it's better than the last DLC. It definitely can be up there because the last DLC was amazing. So that can win. Borderlands 3 can win. What is that one with Hideo Kojima? No, is it Hideo Kojima?
Death
Oh,
Stranding.
no, please don't mention that game. No.
But okay.
Astral Chain peas.
Yeah.
Peas all over Death Stranding.
Okay, but like
Get it?
you know what's up. You know what's up. You know what I'm saying? Like you know it's all up to the critics and stuff, and they're
Yeah,
going to
of
hail his stuff. I mean, it might be really good. It might just
I love
walking simulator.
I love
way that I'm-
Kojima. I just think, I don't know, is he up himself right now? Because I've seen so many clips of that game, and I think, like most people, still have no idea what that game. Well, I have an idea, kind of what it's about, but man, you're going to have to buy that game, I think, to actually work out what that game is about.
The way that I'm looking at stuff like that is, if you actually manage to even like just get your game as a contender for Game of the Year, I feel like you've done a good job, because that shows just of how like satisfied people are with the product that you've actually made.
Yes, that's very true.
Absolutely, yeah. To be nominated for Game of the Year.
So like, for example, last year Celeste was just some other indie game, but it hit people so hard and was so incredible that it was up there with the likes of God of War.
It was so good though. Oh my gosh, Celeste was so good.
Now, see, I was a little. What do you call it? What's the word when you are suspicious? It's not suspicious. I can't remember. Skeptical about that when I saw it in the listings, and I thought, and I said to a few friends, I was like, have they just put that in there to make it look like, look, we even include independently developed games in Game of the Year category? But then after playing it and realizing, again, I'm not very good at games like that either, but realizing how fantastic a game it was, I think it was put there because of how good it is, and not just as a token, suggestion that we'll even put in an independently developed game in this category.
Yeah, and even wait, was Dead Cells also nominated for Game of the Year or just Action Game of the Year?
I think.
Oh, I can't remember.
I don't know if it was like Indie Game of the Year or if it was just Game of the Year.
Because that was amazing too. Dead Cells is incredible.
I actually haven't had a chance to play Dead Cells, but I saw that it just got added to Xbox Game Pass, so I might actually have to check that out.
Oh, dude, it's really, really good. Really good. But yeah, Celeste is one of those games that is so unique, man, and the message behind it is what makes it. What do you guys think of that? Do you think that that has a lot to do with the game being that good? It's like the feelings that it can give you by the message that it's trying to convey. I mean, it's such a new medium compared to film or anything else that this kind of thing is just starting, I think, to happen.
A bit like Senua's Sacrifice.
Yeah, I haven't played it.
If we can look back to, let's say, like 10 years ago, for example, whenever video games were still, like, I guess you could say kind of in their infancy in a sense, because they were still obviously picking up a bunch of steam, but if you would try to put something like that story-driven and trying to hit home with people that also feel that way, just compared to how the gameplay is, I don't feel like it would have been received as well.
Yeah.
I think I suppose it's easy to to look at those type of games now you know, when we think of game of the years and stuff, you know, and all these big action games, you know, but you also got to, you know, go way back as well. And in some respects, these were kind of what they're kind of coming off what RPGs, essentially done, where you would, you know, for the most part, just be walking with minimal gameplay outside of the battle system. You know, it's more story, and we were always introduced to other games, whether they were point and clicks like Broken Sword, whether they were cinematic games like the Oddworld series when they first come out. There's you know, I think, you know, a lot of people love, can enjoy very focused story based games. You know, some people don't like them at all. When, you know, some people, you know, live by gameplay. You know, and that's absolutely fine. That's, you know, that's up to them. But one of the best games, you know, I played, you know, probably about 2-3 years ago, was a game on PC called Dear Esther. And when there's no gameplay in that game, I mean there is no gameplay. You walk and you walk and you walk and you hear the guy narrating in the background. Right? That's literally, that's all that happens.
And that's it.
And that's it. And you walk through these beautiful environments, hear the guy narrating, and it was one of the best experiences I had in a long time. It was a
Really?
beautiful experience.
Wow.
Really. So sometimes you can find the right story driven game. Yeah.
Well, that's like What Remains of Edith Finch. Have you played that?
Yeah. Yeah. So
That's a very.
I actually that's the follow up, I believe. Let me check that.
Really?
Yeah,
I've
with
heard
Dear Esther.
heard people talk about Edith Finch, and I know it's on Switch now, but
No, I'm thinking of everybody's gone to Rapture. That was the other game they done, which was quite similar to Edith Finch. Yeah, you know, so it's that type of, let's create a beautiful environment, let's add some intrigue in terms of story in the background, and let's just tell a story. And those games have always existed, except the difference is now, you know, video games is up in lights, you know, with all the marketing, all the celebrities behind it, you know.
All
So
the
when we
money,
get experiences
the
like
the
this,
money.
people can, yeah, you know,
it
people
makes
can
more than
say,
it makes more than film. Video games on
Yeah,
a
it's
yearly
crazy.
basis make more than any movie. Than all movies.
Yes. So if you said to someone now, if you have, you're talking about you know, Death Stranding, you know, being a walking simulator and stuff, and have you ever played you know, Broken Sword? They'd be like, Broken
yes.
what? You know, and Broken Sword back then, all the way through. Well, it's actually, they got recent games out now, you know, so, you know, it's still going. But those were essentially the point and click story based minimal gameplay experiences that you had. You had a few puzzles here and there, but if you wanted to control your character, you'd have to click on the screen somewhere. You know, and we've always had these type of games, but now that we're up in lights and we've got the graphical power to support it, when people see a normal reader in a video game in a realistic looking environment has a crazy story in the background, more people are going to pay attention, whether it's good or bad, you know, for the industry, you know, to have these type of celebrities taken over, you know. Where
Yeah.
I argued before that video games, we should be building up our own
It
celebrities.
was you.
You know, we have
was you. Yes, it was you. I was thinking about that just now.
Yeah, you know, we.
I was going to change the subject completely. Sorry, I was thinking about something totally, well, not left field. It's still to do with Nintendo and that. Right, so we know Xbox, whatever it's going to be called, is coming next holiday. I'm imagining PlayStation 5 is coming maybe just before or about the same time. Okay, does Nintendo need to have released a more powerful Switch or whatever they're going to do next before, or can they last with the Switch we have now for, because games are still going to be coming to the PS4 and the Xbox One, so they can still be scaled down if they need to be. Can they last for a year and a half into those next gen life cycles?
Yeah, for 100%. I think yeah, I think 100%. I think that the whole thing is overblown, completely overblown. That like, oh, the Switch is gonna be underpowered, dude. It's underpowered right now. It's way underpowered right now.
Well, power is relative. What does my Xbox One X do with 14 watts of power? It doesn't even switch on, mate.
That's true.
You know, but yeah, I get what you mean. But yeah, because there will be games for the first year and a half still coming to PS4 because of the massive install base it's going to have. So if they can come to PS4, then depending on the engine, I guess they should be able to scale to the Switch and whatever they need to do.
Now, do
So,
you think that the success of the PS5 is just kind of written in stone? There's nothing.
Nope.
I mean, really?
Nope. I tell you, I'm telling you now. This generation, even though I love both my Xboxes, you know, I can't deny that Microsoft missed this generation. I think they messed it up themselves at the very beginning. But we've seen them buying these development studios and such forth. I think they now have something like first party and second party studios close to around 13. And I think they're going to come out strong next gen.
They still have the best online. They still got the best backwards compatibility.
Yeah,
They got every chance in the world.
Game Pass, you know,
Game Pass, yeah.
Really
Don't write them off.
Yeah, the Game Pass I think was such a huge win for them. Well, I think more so than like people realize.
You know, I'm not saying Sony's not going to be successful with the PS5. That would be a stupid thing to predict, but I don't think it's written in stone. Sony has work to do, but I wouldn't write Microsoft off for next gen.
The only reason that I feel people think that like Sony's guaranteed to always come out on top now is because Xbox slipped up this generation with promoting and marketing the Xbox One wrong, and then Sony just had better like exclusives.
Yeah.
Whereas Microsoft always just keeps the same few IPs.
Yeah, you know, and bundling it with Connect at the beginning, you know, that 500 in the UK anyway, £500 price point, and then they had to get rid of the Connect to reduce the price. Trying to market it as the all-in-one home media system when, you know, is that what you want from a gaming system? I guess some people do. Me, personally, I just want a gaming system. But like I say, I think they're going to come out strong next gen.
Well, and people have already like noticed that if you compare the PS5 specs to the like Scarlet specs that they've announced, Xbox already has the more powerful console.
Yeah, and that's still a big sell for a lot of people. Is, you know, they want.
Yes, according to now should I say his name or not?
Super
according to no. According to someone who loves the Dreamcast, the CPU has
gamers
14 teraflops of power.
You know, I'm not gonna say anything. I'm not a judgeful person, but I've seen things where I'm like, that's just. You're on level 2. You think you could take me? You're trying to give me a handicap? All right, we'll see. You're trying to give me a handicap because you beat me to a pulp. We'll see. You know, that guy has done some really weird things, man. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, Mark. When it comes to like OJ and stuff and like other things that he's done, but I wouldn't take anything that he says. I would take it with a grain of salt.
The minute I saw that video and a friend of mine, and Clocked It, I know that Shadow Fox, he noticed it as well. As soon as he said, you know, my source told me the CPU has 14 teraflops. Are you sure he said the CPU and not the GPU?
Yeah,
because that's where the power is going to cut. You know, and then of course he came out with the video a couple of days later. It was all bogus. I did some more research, and it was all. Yeah, okay.
Well, that's what a lot of these guys do. They have people DMing them and saying, "Oh, I have some information for you," you know, and they take it because they want to make a story, but it's not.
Yeah, legit. It's just annoys me.
Lesson learned. You know, only talk about what you know.
Of how people are saying that for example, like the Xbox, like the next Xbox Project Scarlet is going to fail because there's no exclusives. People thought that with the Switch in a way because it was underpowered compared to what we were already used to.
Yep. Yeah.
And
they thought that they wasn't going to have any games because of it.
They completely forgot of how many like first party IPs that Nintendo has, and just of how much support at first it didn't have. But once people saw that how good the games on there would come to be, like more developers wanted to put their games on there.
I said this to Coloco the other night. There was a YouTuber, I forget his name, but he did a video maybe a couple of months ago. He did some research, Nintendo's first party studios and their second party, and studios that they work extremely closely with. It amounts to around 22 studios. So that's potentially 22 studios around the world that can be producing games for Nintendo. That's a lot of studios, geez.
Yeah, the Switch isn't it doesn't need any more juice or anything like that. It doesn't need revision. We just go back to history, where people still made the same excuses. Why the Wii isn't as powerful as the 360. It's not going to compete. It's not going to get Call of Duty. It got all those games. It got all those games and then some. And it's still very, very successful. So we come to the Switch, and I don't know. I always struggle with what people feel like they want, because sometimes I feel like we don't know what we want until it's given to us. And I was always a bit sad. Even though Microsoft messed up all their marketing at the beginning and more fooled them. I was always actually sad that the Kinect camera was taken out of
I'm sorry.
the
I'm
core
sorry to
system.
interrupt, Clock Tip, but Jesus Christ, what are you? Just like a puzzle phenom or something? Every other game, I'm like beating you.
You're on the left.
He's demolishing you.
Yes, he's destroying me.
Puyo.
Oh my gosh! And with a handicap. All right, sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's fine. Rant away.
On the subject of studios that like Nintendo has and whatnot, Microsoft has kind of been building up its backlog. Like they picked up Ninja Theory, who made Hellblade.
Yep.
They just picked up Obsidian, who worked on Fallout New Vegas and
awesome developer,
and is now working on the Outer Worlds, which on like the subject of Game Pass, Xbox kind of has that down pat now. So let's say there's a game that isn't like they own the studio. So for like Gears of War 5, obviously that's going to be an Xbox studio. They have the incentive of you buying into Game Pass for $10-15 a month, or they'll obviously have sales so that you can try the game out. And then if you like the game so much that you want to go out and buy it yourself, they're actually gaining more money from you than just buying the game outright. So it, in their like eyes and from a marketing standpoint, that's actually working out really well for them.
I didn't see that. I didn't have the vision to see that initially. Like I was like, how is this beneficial in the long run? I was thinking, but I didn't think of all those like the Gears of War $20, and that's a huge incentive, to get it earlier, and even that you're not paying $60 for the game, but you know what? That's kind of like that's kind of having like some vision to the future, because a lot of people aren't buying $60 games anyway. They're just waiting for them to go on sale a few months later.
And another good example of that is Devil May Cry 5. It came out in March, and then in June during E3, it got announced to go to Xbox Game Pass.
That's crazy. That's crazy, man.
So you can play one of the games that people are defining for Game of the Year for only $10 a month.
Yeah, like I say, Game Pass has to be one of the most I think anyway, what does my opinion, what weight does my opinion carry? But in my opinion, one of the most consumer or pro-consumer, certainly price points, offerings available across the 3 platforms. The other thing I was going to mention was, what with EA seemingly not interested in Switch, I would say EA doesn't need Nintendo. Does Nintendo need EA?
Nah. Mm-mm. No.
Do you know what's beautiful? Do you know what is beautiful? Is that
Me? No? Oh, okay.
yeah, you're beautiful, mate. You're beautiful. It's is that this is I've always when my history with the Dreamcast, I've hated EA since really hated them since the Dreamcast. I've been not happy with that. And since there's a point, everyone has been like, you need EA on your consoles, right? Because every console that hasn't had them on there has been doomed, right? And the Switch has what I love is that not only has the Switch not needed EA, people have started to realize that they don't need them on their console of choice right now, which is the Switch. You're like, we don't need you. There's other good games elsewhere.
The thing is that there's still, I mean, I want to say casual, but we had the conversation earlier. But I'm just saying there's still a casual fan base of people that really like these games. Like, for example, Sims. Sims is a huge game, man. Like I didn't even understand how big it is until my wife started getting into it, and she watches YouTubers that just do Sim stuff. And
Yeah,
I'm telling you, there's a lot of content. There's something like Sims is so big, which is also kind of weird how it's not on the Switch, but they have these IPs that just like appease a lot of people, and they hold on to that, man. They hold on to
I'm not saying that that people wouldn't buy their games if they came to the platform. What I'm saying is that the platform is successful without them, and for the most part, most people aren't missing them because there's other alternatives for the most part.
Oh yeah.
And even like with their Star Wars games, it's just like, because their Star Wars games have been so crap, people aren't missing EA Star Wars games. They miss the Star Wars games, but then some Star Wars games are coming, which is great. But they're not missing EA's Star Wars game. They're not missing EA's Battlefield, because this we got other stuff coming or other stuff there. They're not, for the most part, people aren't missing the Sims, I feel, because we will get Animal Crossing, and we have got like Stardew Valley and all these other types of games which can fill those building and those relationship type of things that people like to get into. So because it's alternatives, and because it's a large library, and because it's successful, and because it's doing these things that you just love about the platform, you're happy to carry on. If it comes, then great, people will buy it. If it doesn't, it's not affecting you to the point where it's a negative on the platform.
Okay, right. Not saying you're not all honest people anyway, but honesty time now. Now we all know this, the alleged story about the Wii U, EA wanting to run it with their Origin accounts, and Nintendo saying no, blah blah blah. Why do you think EA seemingly isn't interested in the Switch? Because history has told us with gaming, if enough units are sold, games will come to that system. But the Switch is selling gangbusters. Even 2.5 years later, EA has put FIFA, a gimped version of FIFA, and a Faye, which they published, was an indie game, and I believe that's it. Basically, what is their problem? Or I don't know.
I think it's quite simple. So let me ask you a question from this point of view. Do you think EA would like a industry where Nintendo leads everything, and that's from the way they look at their games, the way they look at their online, the way they look at how they take in money? Do you think EA as a company, and even like Activision and stuff, do you think they would like that type of future for the industry?
Um,
Say that one more time. Sorry, I was picking a game. Do you think
So
EA
yeah.
what?
So do you think EA would like a industry where Nintendo are in control, the ones
No.
up front all the time?
Not at all. And I'll tell you why. And I'll tell you why there's not a whole lot of games, or at least what I think, why there's not more games, EA games on Nintendo systems. It's because the Nintendo Switch specifically the Nintendo Switch consumer base is used to a certain type of product. They're used to
Yep.
a product where you pay full price. You might pay some DLC for an added story or something like a significant content with it, that DLC, and that's it. They are not used to microtransactions up the butt, just like PS4 for the majority of their consumers. And let's be honest, a lot of people that play these games, like NBA 2K, are PS4 players and are Xbox One players and are PC players, and they are the bulk of how EA makes their money. So they don't.
Mhm.
That's what I think.
And
Yeah, that's
also
exactly it.
the
And
fact
and
of,
with sorry, go ahead.
they're used to having that install base that is willing to pay the extra money for having better things in game, also known as like pay to win. So if they realize that they can pay an extra $30 to $40 to be the best, like have the best characters and cards and whatnot in the game for online play, then EA doesn't really need the Switch kind of in that standpoint, because Switch players and just its install base isn't used to being like, oh, we have this, let's say, $60 edition of Breath of the Wild, but if you pay like an extra $40, then you'll get all of these exclusive weapons and whatnot. And then also litter it with microtransactions, because that's not Nintendo's business model.
yeah, but I think the Switch is that system where PC owners are buying Switches. I own an Xbox. I bought a Switch day one. I think PS4 owners are. I think if EA put something like Plants vs Zombies on Switch and it had microtransactions, I think there would be enough people that bought that game and dipped into the microtransactions that it would pay off for EA to put it on there.
Yeah,
I
but
don't think
True.
it's just core Nintendo gamers who are playing Switch.
but with EA as well, it's also their culture. So at the same time, you have to address, would Nintendo pay them millions to get initial exclusive release or exclusive initial content, pre-order content for their version of FIFA before Microsoft or Sony, who Microsoft and Sony do it all the time. Nintendo aren't going to do it.
No, they wouldn't. No, you're right.
No, that's EA's culture. So it's not just about selling games for them. It's about getting as much money as possible, and also having a control on the industry. I don't think any third party should have as much control on the industry as EA has.
To go back on your subject of like, it's not just Nintendo people who are buying Switches. Like, the last actual Nintendo console that I bought was the Nintendo DS Lite. And my older brother...
Such a beautiful handheld as well. Beautiful.
Of course. And I kind of went the way of the Xbox. My one brother went the way of the PlayStation, and then my oldest brother went and just stuck with Nintendo. So he actually was the one who convinced me to like buy a Switch and give it a shot, just because of like all the first party stuff.
3 brothers, 3 different consoles.
Come back, Frank. Come back.
What we would call the ultimate console war of a household.
Frank, I'll kill you.
So, on the subject of Game Pass, also, I've been looking at the screen, and for $10 a month, it's honestly, Microsoft could charge you more, and it would still be like one heck of a deal, because right now Game Pass has 239 games.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and it's now it's what is it, $15, and you get Xbox Live as well, right?
Yeah.
So you not only do you get Game Pass, but you also get the absolute free games that you could download on your system and keep them forever.
Yeah, and not only that, but you're also getting Game Pass for PC, which has other games that aren't on Game Pass for console.
That's awesome.
And the games are like AAA games. They're not just games that only Microsoft has made. So like they have Borderlands 2 and the pre-sequel on here. They have Dead Cells. They have Devil May Cry 5, Doom 2016, Fallout 4, all of the Gears of War games, all of the Halo games, Hellblade, Hollow Knight.
So then the Switch is maybe not the Switch. Well, yeah, it is the Switch itself. Is kind of setting a precedence then, because month on month it's killing it in the MPDs. It's killing it in Japan. Nintendo is making, I would say, strides in the UK and certainly the rest of Europe.
Yeah, I just had the first. Isn't that the first game that came at #1 was Astral Chain?
What in the
Switch
UK
game?
charts? It was something like that. Yeah, I remember reading. But it's a console that is killing it. It's selling in droves, and one of the biggest developers in the world isn't making games for it. It doesn't matter how many it'll sell; they're not making games.
Can you imagine this as well? Could you imagine? Because I'm sure this is another thing that they fear and wouldn't want. Can you imagine that if the Switch showed that people, for the most part, were just content with a 720p version of FIFA on a handheld screen that you could also put on the TV, and they would still play because they got the option to run around and do whatever they want with it, play here, there, and everywhere. Can you imagine the industry started going more towards that, where people just like, yeah, I don't need a 4K and 8K, I don't need realistic graphics, I'm just happy with my portable game here, or stuff like that. Can you imagine how that would affect some companies who had lived off the flash and the jiggly wiggly flops of how games push all their graphics and stuff, when you got people sitting around the corner here playing a 720p version of FIFA and not buying the PlayStation 4 version? Do you think EA would like that type of industry?
No, because those developers would then have to start actually thinking about making their games interesting, rather than relying on those 4K or whatever graphics.
They'd have to make good games.
I think that Xbox has kind of realized that the market could take a turn at any moment, and it's not just about graphics. And people do enjoy portability a lot because they've started to develop Project xCloud, which is being able to take all of your Xbox games and just play them on your phone directly.
Yeah, I think that's big. I don't play games on my phone or my tablets at the moment, but even when they launch xCloud and I'm able to, I don't know, be laying in bed and actually I don't know, because the reason I don't play games on my phone or my tablet is because I don't like the touch control schemes for mobile games, so I'd have to have a physical controller. So
there's actually a mount that will you can buy, and all that it is it goes onto your Xbox controller and your phone sits on top of that, so you wouldn't have to use touchscreen controls.
Okay, that makes it more appealing then.
The only thing is the lag is what I'm afraid of. What happened to the other guy? I think you must have ran out of lives, man. The lag is all I'm worried about. But
apparently your Xbox would become the server, so you've got an actual server in your house.
So that sounds a million times better than Stadia. Stadia to me still sounds like it's just going. Maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like it's not going to do well. I don't feel like it's going to go.
I feel like Google is trying to jump ahead a little too much with Stadia. So
I've got pretty good internet where I am. I live in a small village down in the southeast of England, and even with my internet, I don't think Stadia is for me. Well, I don't play on. I've got a gaming PC that was built for gaming, and I don't game on it. Brilliant, but yeah, I'm not interested in Stadia at all.
I just don't think Stadia has the right market right now. Like, if they were to try this in a few years, then I could possibly see it actually panning out.
Yeah, my only setback for it is that you still have to pay full price for these games. I think that's just,
and you
that's,
don't own them.
Nope.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest sticker.
That's the one thing that Xbox also would have over Stadia is you don't have to pay for this subscription service and then also pay for the games. It's I don't remember if they said that xCloud was going to be free or not, but I do know that you don't have to keep rebuying the games just to play them on the go.
No,
if Stadia was just a subscription, yeah, whatever, £10 a month, whatever, you can stream all these games all day, every day, whatever you want, just a catalog of 100 games that might switch up each month or whatever, then I think it would do really freaking well. But the fact that you do have to pay still full price for these games and you're still streaming them and you don't own one at all, that will be a sticker for many people. But
yeah, and that's the thing, man. We just saw it with DuckTales Remastered, right? They took it off store shelves.
Exactly.
We saw it with
those developers could pull those games
for whatever reason. It might
anytime they want.
Yeah, it might not be for like monetary, a way that they can make that money later on. It might be like what happened in Telltale games. They went out of business. They had no choice. They had to take their games off. That's the kind of stuff is just out there. It could happen when you're leaving it up to them to take control of it.
Yeah, it's I don't know. Like I say, it's not for me. Like Clocked It said, if it was just I don't know, £10 a month, £15 a month, and you had access to 200, 300 games that you could stream however long you wanted to, wherever you wanted to, that would be a much more attractive proposition than these full price games that you never see a box or a disc or anything, and they can be taken. And I've heard some people say, well, this is Google. They've had so many projects in the past that they keep going for about a year and then they pull them. So the Stadia could be down and gone within a year or two. I mean, yes, they could, but these same people are YouTubers. Google owns YouTube. They could pull YouTube at any time for some reason. I think Google Stadia will be around for at least 3 or 4 years. Google will want to give it time to build a fairly big user base, but no, it's not for me. I prefer physical media.
And that's like another thing that, like Game Pass, I know that I keep bringing that up, but it just shows that Xbox is doing it better. With Xbox, you're not just streaming the games, you're actually downloading them so you don't have any latency or lag whatsoever.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah.
So for $10 a month, you're getting access to almost 250 games, and they keep swapping out games regularly each month. And you're guaranteed to not have any lag because they install directly to your system as if you owned the actual game.
Yep. Yeah, that is, like I say, it is a very good value for money, I think. I think I've had Game Pass since it launched. Yeah, so yeah, for me it's very good value.
And plus, they're not telling you, hey, you can play these games after you pay for them.
Yeah.
Well, pay full price for them, rather.
All right, then. Well, I'm gonna have to leave you guys. Sorry.
No problem.
No problem,
off halfway
man.
through, but
hey, I really appreciate you stopping by, Clocked It.
No, thanks for inviting me.
Clocked It has an amazing channel. Make sure you guys check him out. He does some really good discussion videos.
I'm gonna give you a call soon, man. We could have some talks, see what we could do.
Yeah, man, for sure.
Together,
yeah,
good fun. But thanks for inviting me on. It was a good chat, and I'll catch up with you all later. All right.
Yeah. Definitely, man. Been great talking to you, Clocked It.
Take it easy. Cheers, boys. Bye.
As a matter of fact, it's been how long have we been streaming? Two and a half hours.
You've been
almost
streaming
3 hours.
for. Yep.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to take a break. Maybe tonight again. If not, more than likely tomorrow. But thanks to everyone that showed up. Thanks to Clocked It. Thanks to Mark from Digital Age Gaming. Have you been making videos lately?
Not lately because of
Are
my
you
mum
going
being in
to?
hospital and that. I will be getting Yes, I will be getting back to it. Absolutely. My mum gets out of hospital hopefully next week.
Oh, that's good. That's really good to hear.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Ayo's
So
not
yeah,
there. Thanks for. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
no, I will be getting back to it. Yeah,
Awesome.
absolutely.
Ayo's not there. Thanks for kicking my butt at Puyo Puyo. You're pretty good at that, man. Who else is Stitch? Thanks for sticking around. Billy the Crit. I'm sorry, man. I didn't even see your messages. I'm sorry about that. Haven't played due to monetary reasons, but game's amazing from what I hear, excluding the review bombing due to being a Switch exclusive. What are you? Oh, you're playing about Astral Chain. Yeah, the review bombing is dumb. It's dumb.
I haven't had a chance to play that yet.
The Astral Chain?
Right.
Oh, it's really good, man. Really, really good.
Now you have a chance of winning a copy.
Yeah, there you go. Thanks, Tokyo
Here's
Chicken, for joining the Discord and the stream, man. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Oh, no problem.
Yeah, anybody that I missed, I'm sorry. I'm sorry if I missed any message. I know I missed some last night from Stitch, man. I'm sorry about that. I saw it after. I'm like, oh, you were talking about a couple of things that I missed on. It's gonna happen sometimes. Let's see. Stitch says, anybody want to borrow my games for $65? Eventually, I'll take them back. Not saying when. That's pretty much it. That's what it is.
Yep.
All right. That's it, man. Thanks, everyone, for sticking around. Until next time. Later. Take it easy.